Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
Are we live? Is it happening?
Are we on?
Is anybody out there?
Hello.
Is there anybody at all?
coming through now, Con.
It's like the day after. Ooh, that was good. That was very good. Welcome to Fatman Beyond. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Mark Bernard.
Oh!
How far away are you?
6 feet.
Social distance,
This is responsible social distancing. Look, I'm wearing gloves as well. Rubber gloves. You know what I've discovered in the fucking pandemic and the quarantine and shit?
Huh.
Like, I like wearing gloves. I was driving and I was wearing my gloves and I was like, I felt like it was in a 20s auto movie.
You're in a getaway?
Yeah, like fucking driving gloves and shit. Like, I'm going to start wearing gloves again. Not this shit, this is for the pandemic, but after the pandemic's gone, get me a nice pair of like fucking driving gloves.
Leather gloves with the little hole in the
I
top.
don't know if I can go leather. I'm not saying like I'm a militant vegan, but it seems kind of, maybe if I could repurpose the leather. I mean, what do they call it? If it's sustainable, if I go to the Real.
There you go.
Sounds like a fucking ad, but if I go to the Real and I buy someone's old leather gloves, then I can maybe do it. But I like wearing gloves. You know what else I've discovered during the fucking pandemic?
Huh.
So we're all washing our hands a lot.
A lot.
You tell me if this happens to you as a man. So I'll do something. I go wash my hands. Water, very, very hot. So as soon as I get in washing my hands, instantly I have to take a piss. Because the hot-ass water makes me have to piss. Is that the same for you?
Not as much, apparently.
Really?
You might need to see a doctor when this is all over.
Oh, my God, dude. I wash my hands under the hottest-ass water and shit for 2 happy birthdays. And then by the time I'm done, I'm like, ah! And then it's so hot that it fucking heats my body up and makes me have to pee. Then I go fucking pee. Then I have to come out and wash my fucking hands again.
You're never going to be empty at this rate.
These first world problems. I don't know who to blame. Here we are doing our show, ladies and gentlemen, from the Scum and Villainy Cantina here in Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard. It's empty as per accordance with the law and stuff like that. Closed to the public, open to us broadcasters, man. JC has renamed it for the evening, the Scum and Villainy Quarantina.
Nice.
See what he did there?
Wordplay.
And we're here to chit-chat and go over the news as if nothing has happened, as if everything's normal. See, we normally stand this far apart from one another.
We do. Let them know that you're here, everybody.
You got JC in the booth.
Look at JC and
You got Andrew back there, switch cameras and stuff like that. If you're tuning in for the first time for Fatman Beyond, you might be like, do they always stand this far apart? Is it a race thing? No, not at all. It's normally we're behind the bar and we're very fucking cozy. But we didn't
to mention for the record, you brought it into race.
I'm sorry, it went there. But no, we would prefer, of course, to be close to one another so we could do gentle ribbing and things that men do, men of our age
tickling,
do. But we also bowed to social pressure in as much as we were like, what if we stand it too close and the internet's like, you fuckers, like we think we might take a little heat for even doing this at all. I know I took some heat from my wife. She was like, where are you going?
Yeah,
I was like,
mine too.
Did you really?
She was like, can't you do this over the internet? Said,
That's what my wife said to me. And I'm like, I would have thought you'd be happy to see me fucking go. She's like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the cantina. And she's like, oh my God, the germs. I was like, I don't know if you fucking know this or not, but the whole fucking town's been shut down. There ain't nobody there. And she was like, you have to wear fucking rubber gloves and shit. And I was like our sex life? And so here I am, wearing rubber gloves. But I did fall in love with the fucking the touch of a rubber glove, man. I honestly remember all the sitcoms we grew up watching, the black and white ones that were in syndication and shit, where moms always did the housework and shit. They put on rubber gloves. Dude, I could have been a 50s house mom, man. That's how much I like these rubber gloves.
Yeah, you're like a 50s house mom meets like crazy CIA proctological interrogator.
I was driving here. Of course, I had my hands at 10 and 2, as you should. When one drives, 10 and 2 kids.
Now this is like Kev's Rules podcast.
But I was at a light and I saw, I was jockeyed next to a police officer, 2 cops in a car. And I'm holding the wheel with my rubber gloves on. They look at me. For 1 second, they look, and then they look away. Any other time in this world, if they saw a random guy with gloves, rubber gloves on, driving around, they'd be like, pull over. Or they'd follow me or something. But now they're like, pandemic. Aye, aye, Captain. And they didn't even blink.
Is that Dr. Giggles? I think that's fucking Dr. Giggles.
Fucking the movie, Dr.
Yeah.
Giggles? It's Deep Cuts Poe, man. That and Wrath of Khan. Did you just come back in time from 80s cable?
I've
What?
had nothing else to do.
What have you been doing during the quarantine, Mark?
I have been not writing as much as I should.
Yeah, it's shocking how much I thought I'd be writing a lot more. I am writing much more on one project. I've been closing up Masters of the Universe, so tying up all the scripts and whatnot. When you're showrunner, this is why, like, for years I was always like, man, it'd be great to run a fucking show. Now I'm like, no, it ain't, because at a certain point, like, you do all the writing. When at a certain point, when everybody's drafts, a lot of drafts are done. Any changes that like Mattel or Netflix wants done, they're like, all right, well, you could do these. And I'm like, oh, can I? And it's literally work. And it becomes like, not work like this fucking 9 to 5. But, you know, suddenly I'm like, oh, I wanted to be writing Clerks and Mallrats. That being said, when I dove back into the scripts and stuff, like I drowned in Eternia. We got some good fucking scripts on that show, man. This fucking Masters of the Universe show, it's like a ways away and whatnot, like a year away. But it is, I'm so proud of it. It's crazy fucking good, particularly based on the IP, like based on the toys and stuff. It turned into something nice.
Do you ever get to the point when, like, and I haven't quite gotten there yet because I haven't had to run my own show, but I've gotten a series of notes from various people. And haven't you ever, like, would you just stop reading it? Like, if you keep reading it, you're going to keep finding stuff.
I have absolutely had that. Not in this project, but in other projects. And also in like test screenings. Like I remember we test screened Jersey Girl for a year, man. We did like 12 test screenings in different parts of the country. It was always irritating to me because you test screen it to an audience and that audience gives you a bunch of notes where they're like, you know, change this, fix that. And if you did that, movie'd be great. And you're like, all right. And then you go fix that shit. And then you have another test screening, but it's not with that same audience, which would make a lot of sense. If it was just like, hey, kids, remember this movie we watched last week? I made the changes you asked for. Here you are. Instead, you're showing it to a whole new audience, and they have a whole new set of fucking notes, man. So the whole time it was always like, can we like just show it to one audience over and over? And then their logic was, they'll get sick of it. And I'm like, I'm fucking sick of it, man. Like, when is it done and shit? That movie wasn't done for a while. But so you haven't been writing as much as you thought?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on the day job, which I won't even mention, but you all know what it is.
Really? So the beginning of that job is going to be done from home?
Yeah, like I spent a week in the room, and then it was, hey, everybody, we're spending the rest of our lives at home, by the feel of it. And so now it's a lot of like Zoom meetings where it's like the Hollywood squares of all
Sofa,
the writers.
the final frontier. This is the voyage of the Starship Bernardin.
Yeah.
I will sit here. I mean, this is what I think is going to happen. Because I was watching, you know, I'm fascinated by, I love Late Night with Seth Meyers. But all the late night shows, you know, they're fucking streaming and shit.
Yeah, doing some version of We're at Home.
Some version of this, some version of their show, literally at home and stuff. And, you know, I watched like a closer look at things he does like every day, you know, and they get big numbers on YouTube. They'll rack up millions of hits, deep dives into the issues of the day. He did one from his house a day ago, 2 days ago, from his like fucking hallway, which it looked like a 90s serial killer's one angle with a VHS camera. And it's got more hits than a closer look normally has on YouTube. I mean, not really the metric maybe, but it's a decent metric. You know, if you look along the timeline, they're very popular. But the one at home, doubly popular. Now, if I'm running a network and we all go back to work months from now, maybe years from now, one of the first things I'd say is like, I'm cutting your budget. Like, you don't have to spend all this money
from your house.
They'll literally watch you in your fucking hallway. Like, are you crazy spending all this shit? Do you think it's going to change the way writers' rooms work?
You know, I don't think so. At least I don't think it's never going to be a bunch of people in a room together talking.
Right.
I still think that experience is just like the technology's not quite there yet.
Something
to make
good
it
comes
seamless.
from everybody being in the same room.
It really does. And lunch. Like writers really, really, really love lunch. And at this point, nobody's bringing me lunch but me.
It's
And,
well, yeah, but that and fucking Postmates, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but even still, like I said, I gotta walk out. I gotta choose things. Writers are the laziest people in the world if you let them get that way.
Who makes the orders then for lunch?
There's a writer's PA who will come around every morning.
Some
with
motherfucker was like, "I've always dreamed of being a writer. Get me a sandwich."
I went to film school. I spent $200,000.
Well,
at
that's,
USC
I
film
literally, if that was the route I would have had to have taken, I never would have been in the business, man. Thank God for indie film, because the notion of like, I just want to put words together, and like before you do that, you got to put lunch together.
You got to get a lot of sandwiches.
Make
and lot
me
of
a
salads.
sandwich. I'm hungry because I'm a writer.
And there's gonna be one fucking irate writer who's like, "There's mustard on this. You know I hate mustard. You got to go back and fix it."
Oh my God.
Yeah, the worst. But I think that the things that will happen, like I was talking to one of my managers today, and they're like, we're getting more work done now than we've ever gotten done before because nobody has any excuses. We all know where you are. There's no like, I'm on the golf course, or I'm at a lunch, or I'm at a whatever. It's like, no, you're at your fucking desk.
Yeah.
Answer the call. Or if you're not answering it, now I know that the reason's behind it. Like the excuses have gone away.
It's true.
But I think that what this will allow is for writers to be on location and on set and still be able to be part of the room experience, which is, hey, Jim is going to pipe in from fucking Vancouver, and we're going to talk about this stuff. And
Right.
like sicknesses become different. Like, if you've got to get treated for something, a surgery, whatever, like now you can still be part of it because we've shown you can do it. I think I think all of this is going to change the world in smaller ways than we think they are.
A lot of people are like, when are things going to go back to normal? Do you think things are ever going to go back to the normal we knew? I don't think it's always going to be like this where it's like we're in lockdown and shit, but I think a lot of things are about to change, man.
I think it's funny. I was talking about this with a friend, and nobody could have foreseen that the most lasting effect on the personal lives of Americans of 9/11 is taking your shoes off when you fly. That is like on the grand scale, that's the effect that we have. It was a massive, worldwide thing, definitely a countrywide thing. It changed the face of America for like 5 years. And then those things began to slip away. It's like, sure, there's still roadblocks in front of buildings, and there's still like armed guards in public places that didn't used to be. But on a day-to-day basis, in your daily life, that's the thing that maintains. And you could not have predicted that. You couldn't have gotten your like fucking Wayback Machine and be like, all right, Kreskin, what's it going to be like in 30 years from now?
Yeah, one day I'm going to have to slip out of my loafers when I'm going to St. Louis.
Yeah, I got to put my laptop in a bag. So yeah, the world is going to change, but I don't think it's going to change in some giant dramatic way, but it's going to be some small way that you couldn't have seen. Like, oh, fuck, really? It's good. That's that.
A lot of people have been asking me, and I guess 3 is not a lot, but 3 different outlets have asked me to comment on the movie business as if like fucking I know anything. But like, is everything ever gonna be the same again and blah blah blah. I'm like, I didn't even get back to anybody because I'm like, I have no take on this whatsoever. It already changed for me a while ago. So I don't, I think we've seen movie theaters have asked the government for a fucking, what do they call that? Bailout, part of the stimulus or whatnot. I don't think movie theaters are ever going to go away. I think, but we've now seen some movies coming out digitally. Case in point, I watched Birds of Prey on Tuesday at home, having seen it in the theaters. Invisible Man's already playing.
The Hunt.
The Hunt is a big test, and as is Ben's movie, the way back, because that was just in a theater and stuff the week before. And this has been the thing that exhibitors have been fighting for years now, like the idea of the theatrical window getting smaller and smaller. And now this pandemic has kind of given studios an excuse to be like, well, let's see what happens if we charge $20. Would you be willing to rent The Hunt? That's what I paid for it.
Yeah.
And I watched it with my wife. I was not sitting there like, oh man, like it was way cheaper than going out to the movie theater. So there will a lot of people have figured that out long ahead of the pandemic, but you might see some of that erosion, or you might see the other thing, which is like we've all been indoors for so long. By the time they're like, you're free to go out, like every movie theater will be packed. You know, people will just try to get back to normalcy as much as possible. I don't know. I have no window into the future.
The one thing I'm surprised hasn't happened, or at least hasn't happened on the scale that I thought it might, and maybe it's just because they're all gone.
Cannibalism.
Coming.
I've been waiting for it.
I got my good teeth. Drive-in movies.
Yeah.
You know, like, and there was some, I remember a news article a couple of years ago, like the last American drive-in closed in, you know, Rahway, New Jersey, wherever it was. But that is perfect social distancing theatrical exhibition. You drive up in your car, keep the windows closed. You bring your own snacks, you tune in your radio
This
to the
week,
broadcast.
though, like the governor announced the closure. Like, remember they did all the closings. Then this week they announced additional closings. On that list, drive-in movie theaters.
Really?
Well, number one, I'm like, multiple? Plural?
There was more?
There's a bunch in this state.
Right.
But number two, yeah, because instantly, like Seth Siegel, my agent at William Morris, was like, you like drive-ins? What about a drive-in tour? Like you can take the movie out and like do your Q&A and everybody's in their car, same thing. And I was like, that'd be fun, man. That'd be great and stuff. So suddenly this week on Monday or Tuesday, the governor was like, no, drive-in movie theaters are closed too. I guess at the end of the day, you have to pass off money. I don't know why they did it. Everyone's in their own cars and stuff.
Yeah.
But they just want us to stay home.
Yeah, don't even leave.
Yeah, which obviously we're abiding by. I haven't really left the house though. I go hiking. They closed Runyon Canyon.
I felt for you when I saw that.
It's all right. I live on a hill, so I just go back to hiking that. But it's like it's like the bunny slope compared to Runyon Canyon. So I just got to do it twice. But so I haven't been out of the house, and so this is us out, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 of us in a very large space with lots of space.
Yes, we're a parallelogram
Between
I
us.
think.
I'm wearing gloves. I don't know what his fucking excuse is. He thinks he's going to live forever.
It's the melanin keeping me strong.
Is that what it is? I read online, perhaps, that I was more susceptible as a white man, but I think that's just
It's probably bull hockey.
yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, I think, movies will probably go back to some version of the way it was, which was already favoring giant blockbusters in theaters and indies going to some version of Netflix or Apple TV or a streamer first, and then some kind of physical media, maybe getting a cursory theatrical release just because. I think that might broaden even further, just because they've seen now that people, if they're home, will actually pay money for a movie they haven't seen before.
I would. Fuck, man. Honestly, I would have paid $100. I mean, nobody wants to hear this, but I would have paid $100 to like watch The Hunt at home. Not because I'm like it's that fucking good, although it was enjoyable. It was just like, oh fuck, this is gonna save me a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean there already is in L.A., especially in Beverly Hills. I think they call it the Bel Air Circuit, which is or Prima, I think might have been the trademark name. But it was a very, very exclusive high-end streaming service for theatrical releases that if you spend like $20 grand a year for membership to this thing, you got to watch movies day and date at home.
I'm going to reveal something here maybe far too telling about me. I don't spend a lot of money on things. That might be an extravagance that I'd be like, do tell, go on. Like, I know some people are like, I'm in a NetJets. I like to fucking have a piece of a jet, and I got 2 homes. I ain't got shit, man. I got a nice house, don't get me wrong. But, like, I don't overbuy.
That.
Holy fuck. Are you kidding? This is a thing?
This is a thing, yes.
You got to live in Bel Air, though?
I don't think so. But it's like that's where it started.
This is what rich people do?
This is what like Seth MacFarlane
Like
does.
people like fucking have movie theaters in their house. They always had that part of that private circuit where they could get a brand new print on day of release, but nobody makes prints anymore. So I guess this is
the new version of that.
oh, that's the fuck. You know what? That's why we gathered here today
If nothing else.
to find this out. Let's go eat the rich, kids. They're getting all the good movies at home, and we can't get them.
The really rich are eating their like summer homes in Belize. Let's go now.
Fuck, those elites taking our fucking motion pictures. They get to see Trolls the World Tour before we do.
Good for them.
Wow, that's fucking, who knew, man?
Yeah.
Next time somebody like asks me, my wife's like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm gonna be like, funny you should ask. There's a very overpriced system by which we could watch movies at home.
We could spend $15 a ticket or 20 grand a year.
You tell me.
I think this checks out. The math is good on this.
Gift's a gift. Gift's something you would never buy for yourself. All right, so here we are. And, you know, as a guy who wakes up every morning and reads Google News, lately all the news, Mark, has been, of course,
Yes.
about this pesky pathogen.
Yes.
But there must be entertainment news.
There's a little bit.
Did you dig some up?
I dug some up. I unearthed some.
Oh, Mark.
It took some doing. You know, and there's not too much because we could have made a giant fucking list of
About
all
the
of
movies that are canceled.
the movies that are pushed, the events that are canceled.
So haunting driving around town. I'm sure it's this way, like at any place that's got billboards. But driving around town and seeing like billboards for movies that haven't come out and aren't coming out.
Yeah.
Like it's like, wait, February, that should be out right now. And
Yeah. It's like, oh,
yeah.
this New Mutants, huh? You think
Meanwhile,
so?
somebody's like, that's not haunting, bro. What's haunting is like people dying from this thing, which absolutely is haunting, and we absolutely know that. But we're here to talk about
Nonsense.
yeah. Yes. We're the distraction. You look over here, kids. See the clown with the rubber gloves?
Yes.
Pay no attention to his hatchet. What
so-
news? What news? Whither the news, Mark? What news?
What yonder news breaks?
Yes.
Well, there's a news item today that broke.
Okay.
Patty Jenkins was interviewed.
Patty Jenkins.
Patty Jenkins, director of Wonder Woman 84, which is now going to open in August.
Wonderful lady. They've moved Wonder Woman to August.
To August. But, you know, they had this.
Maybe she can beat up this fucking virus.
You know, I bet you Themyscira is
I
fine.
bet you she can fucking block it. Somebody like coming at her with germs. She's like ping, 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 ping. Do it all Zack Snyder fast. Ping, 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 ping. And then some guy pulls out a gun and threatens a child. That's Justice League.
Yeah.
I just watched it again.
I'm
In
per-
quarantine, I've been rewatching all the DC Universe movies.
Yeah?
The DCEU, if you will. Yeah.
How are they holding up?
Honestly, like anytime I come up against one where I'm like, well, this is tonally different than I would imagine, whatever. I always think about how when we read comics, the same person didn't always write Batman.
No.
And sometimes someone would write Batman in a way where you're like, well, that's new. So sometimes it's like that. I'm like, oh, that's new. So I've been rewatching those.
So yeah, Vanity Fair had what I have to imagine was supposed to be a cover story pegged to the release of Wonder Woman and a big-ass interview with Patty Jenkins.
Right.
In which she talks about, she was initially supposed to be the director of Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah, that's right, man.
She was, and it was a big announcement, and she was very excited about it because it's a big fucking deal. At that point, like a woman hadn't directed a superhero movie, let alone a Marvel movie, let alone one of their sort of giant franchise.
And Patty had
franchises.
come from Indie World. She directed Monster.
Yes. That had been the movie before Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she eventually walked away from it. And so she, for the first time, I think on the record, just kind of went straight at it to explain why she did. And her quote was, I did not believe that I could make a good movie out of the script that they were planning on doing. I think it would have been a huge deal. It would have looked like it was my fault. It would have looked like, oh my God, this woman directed it and she missed all these things. There was one time in my career where I really felt like, do this with any other director and it's not going to be a big deal. And maybe they'll understand it and love it more than I do. You can't do movies you don't believe in. The only reason to do it would be to prove to people that I could, but I wouldn't have proved anything if I didn't succeed. I don't think I would have gotten another chance, and so I'm super grateful.
Wow. That's perspective. She's a cool lady, man. I talked to
Yeah.
her at Sundance like last year or the year before. She's the goods. Yeah, like I get that. I mean, it's never happened to me because nobody was ever like, here, do something important. But I could see like fucking if you were standing on the threshold and you're like, this ain't going to happen and I'm going to get blamed. Like,
Right.
you
And
make
like,
a
and if
decision.
you're the one, like if you're the, it's like I'm going to be the fucking, if Jackie Robinson is shitty at baseball, then does baseball change? Sports thing, baseball thing.
Yeah,
But,
what do you mean, Mark? What?
if you are the first through the door,
Yes.
the pressure on you to succeed being the first through the door is higher than it is if you're just the 5800th through the door.
There's an analogy I understand, having been through a door or two in my lifetime.
You know, like it would have been if she takes that movie and it turns out shitty, they would have said, turns out women can't direct giant action movies.
Right.
We took our shot, didn't work out. Let's go find another dude.
And as we saw later on, she sure does know how to make them giant action movies.
She really does.
We should be getting another Wonder Woman trailer, shouldn't we, now that they've moved the movie into August?
I would think.
I demand it.
Bring it.
Yes, bring it
Render
on to
unto
us.
Caesar what is his.
Well, I dig Patty Jenkins. I was going to say we love Patty Jenkins. I can't speak for Mark, but
I like her quite a bit, though.
I dig her. She's fucking the goods, man. She didn't say anything about, wasn't like Jane, like wasn't
She wanted it to be like this kind of Romeo and Juliet.
Who did?
Kind of romance. Patty. Like she wanted her Thor 2 to be way more of a romance between those two characters.
But didn't Natalie Portman get mad too?
I think she got mad when Patty walked away
But did she stay in the movie?
Yeah, she's in it. Like
But she was, and then she was like, I ain't ever doing this shit again, and walked.
Yeah.
And I think she did because they fired Patty Jenkins, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think because Patty was her pick. Like that was sort of Oscar winning.
Now Natalie Portman, she's gonna be in
Thor 4.
the new Thor.
Yeah, Love and Thunder
Yeah.
as Thor.
Well, she got over that. Thank God, because fucking that movie is gonna be cool.
Well, I mean, I think it was also. I have to think that the experience of making the Dark World for her was not overly rosy.
And I'm sure sitting on the sidelines and watching
Yeah, and
Marvel
so, like,
become Marvel was like, can I come back?
And also, like, Taika's a fantastic director, and you look at what he did with that movie, and everybody wants to be.
Guy's so
now.
clever and imaginative.
Yeah,
It's adorable.
So yeah, that was the thing that came out, and Wonder Woman is getting pushed. This is
August.
August. I don't know when exactly in August, but WW84.
Looks good. I can't wait. Looks great. Honestly, the trailer looks really cool. I want more though. We know we all want to see. I mean, maybe I'm like we all want to
show me.
Yeah, I try not to be that guy because there's another guy who's always in the news who says everybody says, and I don't know if anybody says, but I personally am waiting to see Cheetah in a big bad way.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're interested in this movie, then you're interested in seeing that. That feels like it's a claim.
You think they're gonna hold on to the flick, or are we gonna get a taste of that in the next trailer? What would you do? You're marketing the movie. Do you give them a taste of Cheetah? If we were renaming the episode, that's what I'd call this one: "A Taste of Cheetah."
A Taste of Cheetah.
What would you give them a taste of Cheetah, or would you make them wait and go to the movie theater?
I think I'd make them wait. I think I'd make him wait because
What a little bitch you are.
I
Why?
really am. But imagine.
I really am.
Imagine how much more excited you would have been at Thor Ragnarok if you didn't know the Hulk was in it.
I mean, but it would have been stupid, man, to not market the movie going like, fucking Hulk's in this shit.
Yeah, but like there's a way you could have done it. They just chose not to. And I get it. Like you're trying to sell, you put your big fucking dick on the table and say, please come and see it. But I think Marvel
Marketing 101, kids. If you're ever wondering how something is sold, there it is. Rewind, listen to this. You put your big old dick on the table, as Mark says, and fucking chop it up and sell it.
Yeah, come and see it. Come and see. It's worked for porn for a long time.
No doubt, man.
But I also think like at that point, Marvel is somewhat impenetrable and that we were going to go see it anyway. And so wouldn't that have been great in that sequence in the Contest of Champions when you reveal that his opponent is actually the
Yes, but I mean, yes, you're absolutely right. But I would argue Thor was kind of on the ropes at that point too, because Dark World did it no favors and stuff. So like, they wanted to come back with like let's make a Thor that people want to see, and they did. Fucking, we all wanted to see it in a big bad way. So I could, in order to do that though, like, let's let everybody know that fucking we got something cool here. You got to put the Hulk in the trailers, man.
Yeah.
So back to my point.
To your point.
No Cheetah? If you're in charge of marketing at Warner Brothers?
I don't think so. That's just me.
Thank God he's just a writer.
And not the COO of marketing.
What's next, Mark?
Well, it's news that has happened since we last recorded, but I think that most of the world knows by this point that The Mandalorian has revealed some casting information.
All right. Pause.
Yes.
When last we gathered, I had not seen The Mandalorian.
That's right.
I have since seen The Mandalorian.
You are now on board with the Mando?
It's not like I wasn't on board before. I was just busy with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot Roadshow Tour. But finally, in the middle of the quarantine, I was like, you know what? I'm fucking roll every episode a Sunday down or a weekday or who knows what the days are anymore. But I was like, I'm going to give this a roll, man. Sat down, popped on the TV and shit. I was not prepared. And believe me, I'd been hyped by you, by the whole fucking world. Like, there were no surprises. I knew Baby Yoda. I knew fucking IG-11. I knew Darksabers and shit. Didn't fucking matter. It is so masterfully fucking made. It is the show of my childhood dreams. And I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a 1970s show? Every episode, particularly when you get into the end credits with the fucking drawings of what happened, that, oh my God, it makes me so happy. It's like a fucking time machine. It brings me right back. Like, honestly, the whole first half of the watch, I was like, this reminds me of the Planet of the Apes TV show. Or not the Planet of the Apes TV show per se, because this show's way fucking better. But how I felt as a kid when I was like, we're watching Planet of the Apes on fucking TV. You know, long before there was cable and streaming and all that shit. Like, it's going, and these guys knew Cornelius, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it was nuts. Same thing as I watched this. I'm like, we're watching fucking Star Wars, man, on TV. It's a goddamn show. And he looks like the bounty hunter, and he looks like the other bounty hunter. And this fucker's an Ugnaught. Like, all of it is so beautifully, like, it's not even a remix, man. It's just, it literally plays in the universe in such a wonderful way. Like, hats off to those cats. And I wrote about it online, and people were like, man, you should direct an episode. Fuck no. I would ruin it. But I'll tell you right now, I would love to be in that fucking show. In a heartbeat, I'd be in that show. Are you kidding me? You never heard me ever say in this lifetime, I always wanted to make a Star Wars anything. But be in a Star Wars fucking thing? Fuck yeah, man. Because a lot of people watch that shit.
Yeah, and you're all about that shit.
Fuck yeah.
You've
I
done
like
it more
being
than once.
seen. Oh, God, yes. And oh, my God, it'd be like so fun. They look like they're having a good time. Like Bill Burr's in an episode,
Yeah.
and what's her name? You know, Amy Sedaris. Like, it's fun, man. And Sudeikis did a day.
Adam Pally and
Sudeikis. Adam Pally. Like, it's been real fun to watch. What's his name? You know, Mr. Krabs. The tall dude, Buckaroo Banzai. You know, Lex Luthor in the Justice League cartoon.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Fuck, I smoked it.
Not Lithgow.
No. Boys. Fucking, you know, guy, man. In Mandalorian, he played the big guy with the horns.
Oh, Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown. Thank you. I smoked fucking Clancy Brown away. Clancy fucking Brown
He's great.
is in it, man. Took a long way to get to that name, and then eventually just close with, he's in it. But he's great in it.
Remember
He's
that
fucking
guy?
wonderful.
That
And he looks
guy.
like the dude in the Cantina bar from Star Wars. Everything like is an echo. Not everything, because it's like a very original story while being a very old story at the same time. You know, it's fucking Lone Wolf and Cub to a large degree. But man, just fucking wonderful. Like, just bliss. And I talked about it when I went to the Rise of Skywalker premiere. I saw Favreau and stuff, and I hadn't seen the show. And he was like, oh my God, you're everywhere. I see you everywhere. I said, I haven't seen your show yet, man, but everyone says it's great and stuff. I was like, and that Baby Yoda's fucking everywhere, man. Did you come up with that? And he goes, yes, I wrote the whole show. And I was like, you did? And he was like, yes. I never really thought about him as a writer. You know, he's a director and an actor and stuff. But I was like, man, like, it captured everyone's imagination. Then I saw the fucking show. Nothing but respect. Nothing but respect for that guy. Look, I love him. And again, this ain't me blowing anybody to try to get a job. I don't want to fucking, that shit looks complicated. Although I will be in it. But fucking, just like Iron Man, which is a movie I rewatch at least once a month. No bullshit. He's a master storyteller, man. Like, fucking, it's so fucking beautiful, like that show. And, you know, maybe I'm like, he's a master storyteller, but I've never seen Cowboys and Aliens. Have you?
Yeah.
Does that count?
I mean, it's not a masterful work.
Maybe he's like a master storyteller with shit I like. Is what I mean. Like, because he took Marvel and fucking made it, you know? Made it wonderful, him and Kevin Feige. Yeah. And now he's taking Star Wars with Dave Filoni, and they're making it, like, wonderful, man. So I trust that dude with all the big, heavy IP. They should let Favreau touch everything. I mean, that sounds terrible in this
long as
age
he's
of
wearing
coronavirus.
gloves.
Yeah, you got to wear gloves, Fabs. But they should, like, is fucking great. So now, having said all that about season 1 of The Mandalorian, and fucking Giancarlo Esposito, dude, bugging out from fucking Do the Right Thing.
Them shits is broke.
He got out of a fucking time. He got out of a time for Yo, Sal, we're gonna boycott you, fat pasta ass. You're gonna boycott me? The hell with your boycott. That was a little scene from Do the Right Thing. End scene. Seeing him fucking get out of TIE Fighter and whip out the Darksaber.
Yeah.
And I love him. I know people know him from like fucking
Gus Fring on
Breaking Bad. But I go deep cuts, man. Like all the early Spike Lee stuff. I was always a big fan of him. So when I saw him come out with the Darksaber, I was like, holy fuck, what a great choice. Just great choices across the board. Leading right into, they made another great choice.
They did. Rosario Dawson
Oh!
has, and to say like is joining the cast is weird because they've already finished shooting.
She's in and they did it and they kept it quiet?
It's all done. Production is over on season 2. They're just now meeting out how.
So that's not even them going like that's not for season 3. She's in season 2.
Yeah.
Maybe she pops up at the end of season 2, and it's all because they kept it that quiet. She could be in more than one episode. You think she's?
They kept.
I can't even finish the sentence. I'm so excited.
I mean, they seem to be doing the job of keeping shit quiet that almost nobody else can do, because they shoot inside a fucking barn.
Right.
And there's no location shooting. There's no long telephoto lenses. Like, motherfuckers show up to work, they do their thing, and they leave. And so, yeah, I don't think they're writing season 3 now, but they're just saying, hey, guess who's in season 2? You want to know? Fucking Rosario. Know who she's playing? Ahsoka Tano.
Oh, this is such great news. This is something we talked about on this show many times. It's not even like a new notion to us, man. I've been wanting this for a while. With no disrespect to... what's the girl that played her in the cartoon?
Ashley.
Ashley, who created her universe. Part of the
Her universe.
Her universe. Did I say?
You said my universe.
I said my and then her. I corrected myself. Whatever.
We got
but no disrespect to her. She's wonderful. But Rosario has wanted to do this. Like every time somebody like live action Ahsoka, she was always like, "Oh my God, that's my dream role and shit." She loves all this like genre stuff. So. It's cool casting, very, very cool casting.
Yeah.
Like in a world of bad news, that was fucking great news, man.
Right, and it doesn't seem as if it's not a series regular role, according to Deadline. It seems as if it's either a 1 or 2 episode thing, or maybe it's an extended cameo.
It'll be the first live action Ahsoka other than Rise of Skywalker. We heard the voice of Ahsoka in when all the Jedis were in Rey, which sounds way fucking dirtier than was intended. So we heard her voice in live action, but we've never seen a live action representation.
Correct.
So this will be the first.
This will be the first.
This is genius. This is so fucking smart. Who created Ahsoka? Was it Dave Filoni?
I'm not sure who the writer on the episode was, but it was on Clone Wars, so yeah.
My God.
I think he gets to take some of that credit.
I want these kids to make 10 years. 10 years of this fucking show. This has it's reinvigorated me as a fan. It dialed my clock back. It took me back to before I used to do things and before pop culture was was currency and everybody was in on it and shit. It took me back to the 70s, to a pure fucking time, man. And I was like, if you can do that with a fucking television show or anything, master. Yeah. You're a masterful artist.
And much like the 70s, it feels a little bit, I'm not going to say Love Boat, because Love Boat is a little pejorative, but the guest stars...
To some.
Fucking
love, exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you and love. Yes, I want to high five him, but we can't because Mark went for the right. But number one, we can't because of the virus and shit. But number two, you went for the extended cut. When they didn't have enough guest stars, they did the long version of the theme song. Yeah. When they had too many guest stars, it was like right after that. Then they were like, love. They were right into the chorus. But when they were they only had 3 people and it was mostly a boat show that night, mostly about Isaac or Julie.
We still got 45 seconds of credits.
Yeah, play the long song, play the long one.
Come on, Lou Rawls has another fucking verse in this, doesn't he?
Oh my God. 70s Kev, love that joke.
But, okay, like the Love Boat, it seems that they have this kind of cavalcade of guest stars coming in. Like for a season, you got Bill Burr, you got Amy Sedaris, you had
And wonderful, like unobvious choices.
yes, totally.
Like great actors and actresses, but like not like the usual
Yeah,
suspects.
you know, like Werner Herzog's in everything these days.
How fucking amazing was he? What a great casting call that was. He was awesome, and of course, fucking Baby Yoda like literally lives up to all the hype.
I love that Baby Yoda is in great part Werner Herzog's fault.
Yeah, he was the one that was
It was
like,
like, use a puppet. Don't fucking pussy out.
do it as that doll.
There's no reason it needs to be CG. Do the fucking puppet.
So fun. I love it so much, man. When is that coming back? Did they say?
I
I
believe
bet you they're gonna get it here sooner rather than later, aren't they?
it's currently, well, the problem that people are having is post-production is proving difficult because even though it's usually like an editor in a room,
Right.
it becomes more difficult when you've got scoring and getting orchestra together to record sound, to do final mix downs of all of that stuff. It's, that is putting a big sort of crimp in the very tail end of the production stream.
Carolyn Omine, who was the writer and producer of the episode of The Simpsons that I was on Sunday, as myself, drawn as myself, she mentioned in her tweet this is the first time she ever remotely mixed an episode of The Simpsons since she can't be in the same room and stuff. So she was at home and watching as they mixed it and stuff. A lot of remote work, I guess, going to be happening.
Yeah, but like there's just some elements of it, specifically if
can't
it's a
do.
live score, it's hard to do.
Yeah, how do you? I mean, on Seth Meyers, like they had in one of the openings, they had the 5 members of his band all at home, and they were like zoomed in, playing the opening theme remotely. It was kind of sweet. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Did you see that one fucking Zoom video, like Poor Jennifer?
No.
So there's like everyone's having like a Zoom conference, and there's like 8 people in the conference, and one lady's talking. Then one lady gets up, she's walking around her house with her laptop, as you're wont to do or whatever. Then she puts the laptop down in her bathroom and sits down and goes to take a pee, and everyone, and you're just seeing it, and everybody on the fucking group chat is like, and they're all like laughing and smiling and shit, and then fucking suddenly she realizes maybe she looked down and saw, holy fuck, it's a view of her on the toilet. And she quick like fucking turns it around and stuff. And the one guy goes, I didn't see anything. And somebody goes, poor Jennifer. Yeah, man, it was harrowing and stuff. But a good reminder.
Indeed.
In the age of Zoom, don't take it to the toilet. I did that with a mix because I didn't know. I had headphones in and we were recording Tony, wait, was he announced? Yes, he was, right?
Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
Let's just say Tony.
It's a cast member who was announced. No, I think he was, right?
Dude, I don't know.
Damn it.
I won't be the one getting in trouble.
Yeah, I ain't going to say nothing. All right, so I was recording someone remotely, and I was in New York, and this person was recording here in Los Angeles, and particularly in Burbank and stuff. And so I had in my earbuds and whatever they're called, AirPods, and I didn't know, like whenever I put those in, I would talk into my phone like this. So if I was using those, I'd be like, blah, 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 because I thought this is the receiver and these are just the ear things to hear. I didn't realize there are fucking microphones in the AirPods. So when you're on the phone, that's what they're hearing. So I left my bass in one room and shit, 'cause we were waiting for somebody to get to the microphone. And I went to the bathroom and like took a huge piss, probably a little fart out and stuff. And then, went back, thought like I got away with that. And then one day somebody was like, the microphone's in the earpiece, because they saw me holding the phone up like this. They're like, why are you doing that? I was like, because you got to talk into the phone. They're like, no, the microphone's right there. I was like, there's no way. It's too far away from your mouth. They're like, science, bro. And I was like, what? And then I started thinking, oh my God, how many times have I worn that fucker into the bathroom? Always remember, leave your shit out.
It's supposed to be out in October, Mandalorian Season 2.
Ooh.
Yeah. But they have also since added Michael Biehn has joined the cast.
Get out of here.
Yes. Playing a
Hicks?
bounty hunter.
From
Fucking
Hudson,
Hicks.
sir. He's Hicks.
Kyle Reese himself.
Kyle Reese, man, like a motherfucker. Also, Johnny Ringo.
Yes.
Johnny Ringo's an educated man. Now I hate him even more.
I got 2 pistols.
Now I really hate him.
One for the both of you. Yeah, he's...
I'm in my prime. Oh my God, that's a good movie. I want to watch that now.
And I love that we're just doing fucking Val Kilmer quotes. We mentioned Johnny Ringo. We're just doing fucking.
Remember him with the tin cup and shit?
Draw.
Wyatt, you are my friend. Oh my God, what a beautiful movie that is. Remember he sees his feet at the end and he's just like, huh. Val Kilmer, man. Blunt man, if you will.
Blunt man.
All right, what else we got?
Let's see. I'm going to save that story for a little bit later.
Uh-oh, really?
Yeah, just because it gets a little serious. Instead, I'm going to do a story that has at least two of your favorite things. New Jersey
Ooh.
and Jaws.
Ooh.
Bruce the Musical is set to hit stages in New Jersey in 2021. A musical version based on screenwriter Carl Gottlieb's 1975 memoir, The Jaws Log. Bruce will be directed and written by people who do things in Jersey at the Paper Mill Playhouse.
Oh my God, they're doing it at the Paper Mill Playhouse?
Paper Mill Playhouse.
I know that place.
Yeah.
So wait, and it's based on Carl Gottlieb's book, The Jaws Log, so it's a musical about the making of Jaws?
A musical about the making of Jaws.
They sold me a ticket. I'm in. When does it begin? I mean, I know we're not allowed to be in public anymore, but when does it begin?
Let's see. You got a year. Bruce will be in co-production with Seattle Rep and is set for June 9th to July 4th, 2021.
That'll give me time to save up money to fly back to New Jersey and see it at the Paper Mill Playhouse.
Something tells me that they would give you a ticket.
I want to support that. I don't want anything for free. I want to monetarily support that kind of shit. You want to give me some tickets to some shit I have no interest in? Fine, but I will fucking financially support that. That's a good idea.
It feels like July 4th is the day to go see.
It really is. I mean, I guess you can get around working with Universal by doing the Jaws Log book.
Yeah, like it no longer becomes a copyright infringement.
I'm in. You're right. Those are two of my favorite things.
See, if it only had weed
Put together. Yeah, fuck. I got Jaws in my chocolate. You got chocolate in my Jaws.
And it's funny, there's also, I can't remember what network is doing it, but they're making a Making of Goonies TV show. It's like a dramatic version of like behind the scenes and how it was making Goonies.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That sounds like an HBO Max kind of show.
It isn't.
Really?
I want to say it's NBC, but
Of the real Goonies.
Of the real Goonies?
Like they're not like a Goonie-ish thing.
No, like they're doing with Amblin. So they're like it's actual fucking Goonies. Sarah Watson, who is a co-executive producer on Parenthood and Friday Night Lights, created the Bold Type, has been like working with Spielberg and making a fucking show about the making of Goonies.
Why Spielberg? That's a Dick Donner thing.
But it's an Amblin production. And
Yeah, but you know, not for nothing. That's a Dick Donner fucking. That movie is more Dick Donner than fucking Dick Donner himself. You could tell a Dick Donner movie, man. They're all fucking the dickish and Donnerish, man. They're wonderful. So like, you know, and I understand Steven Spielberg was involved. I ain't trying to take anything away, but sounds like if you're gonna develop it with anybody.
Well, one of
he's
them,
the one that's been out there for years. Like every time the kids get together and shit, and he's like, "We want to make another movie," but they never did it again.
Yeah, I mean, one of those two gentlemen has like an active production company that makes things,
Right.
and that would be Steven Spielberg.
True.
I need your guys' keys. The guys next to
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Andrew and I are going to put on the main camera. You guys.
yeah. All right, it's live, and they're stealing our cars.
Anything can happen, ladies and gentlemen, and a tow truck has come to take us away as the boys rush away to get our cars out of the alley. In order to do the show here, we park in the back alley.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't supposed to be anybody who needed anything in the back alley.
and I don't know if you just heard that. Wham, 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 wham. That was a neighbor who was like, I'm going to fucking tow this piece of shit. So we're on our own. One camera.
Uh-oh. I don't know what to do now.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know they were switching. All right.
So yeah, Jaws the musical, Goonies, the untitled Goonies show, potentially coming to the next TV season. Nobody knows what's happening with the next TV season.
Mark,
Yeah.
may I make a little confession?
Please do.
I am working with a streamer, as the kids call them these days,
Indeed.
on a project of sorts, and hopefully I'll have news to share with other people soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you this much. Today, I had to write a cover letter, not had to, wanted to a bona fide legend / movie star that we sent our script to.
Ooh. How slobbery was this letter?
It was respectfully like it wasn't that slobbery. It wasn't like distasteful where it's like, ugh, sycophant. But it definitely communicated that I was a Deep Cuts fan and had been for a long, long fucking time. And we share something like pop culturally, so to speak, that I was able to reference and stuff. So if this person goes for this thing, holy the fuck. It would be, I mean, it would be wonderful and fun for me, but it would actually make a fucking terrific show. I'll let you know. I hope trusts I've been vague enough.
Yeah, I think I know who it is, but we'll confirm after the break. Who is it? Who is it? There's no break. There's nobody here.
You know what? I'm gonna write this down, and then I'm gonna see if you guessed it right.
Okay.
Here we go.
Shouldn't I have written it down?
Yes. This is why, even though I've got the rubber gloves, I should never plan the murder. All right, you write it down.
I'm gonna write it down.
And then we'll see how close you get.
Okay, new note. I'm gonna slip you the answer.
JC's gone. This place is ours, man.
I know, this is cool.
Mark and Kev's Cantina.
I need a new folder.
Scum and Villainy. We can we just put Mark in tape over Scum and Kevin over Villainy. Yes, you got it. You got it, my friend.
Got it in one.
You got it. So you understand with the thing we share pop culturally?
I believe I do, yes.
So it was, hopefully, it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship, but it's a long shot. I'll tell you that right now.
I had to write one of those notes as well, and it didn't go anywhere, so I can say who I wrote it to because it's not like actively happening.
Do it.
But I had to write one. Didn't have to. I got to write one for Idris Elba.
The fuck?
Yeah, to be part of a project that
You gave him the coronavirus.
I totally did.
Sent him your letter with all your germs on it.
With my ungloved hands.
How'd it go, boys?
Car's still around? Good. I got to ride home. But yeah, and I remembered, like, because my manager's like, hey, I think it could use a personal touch if you want to write a letter to go along with the script as we send it over. And so I wrote a letter, and I sent it over. He's like, yeah, it could use a little bit more. I'm like, it's not a sloppy enough blowjob? He's like, yeah, it needs to be a sloppier blowjob. Okay.
More tongue. More spit. Spit on it, Mark.
Yeah. Motorboat it. And, and then I sent it over. He's like, how's that? It's like, yeah, that 20% did it.
They were happy with it, but it didn't go anywhere?
It didn't ultimately go anywhere. Like, I think
But you did send the letter.
The letter went, and he received it, or at least his agent received it. Somebody received it.
Maybe now that he's home in quarantine, he's got time to read it.
He's got nothing but time to read shit.
He's like, this letter was actually really sweet.
Well done, sir.
Rethinking this project.
You told me things that you liked about Luther that I hadn't thought of.
Alice. Alice.
All right, so, yes. Jaws the musical. Bruce the musical.
Bruce, the musical about the making of Jaws.
Jersey
At the
Stages,
Paper Mill Playhouse in New Jersey.
2021. I guess the somewhat, I don't call it dour, but it is an awakening, I think, of sorts.
Okay.
Is that Diamond Distributors, which in comic books is the only way that stores get merchandise to sell. It is
Out of Baltimore.
Out of Baltimore. The Jeppies.
Diamond is it. That's how you get your comic books. If you're a comic book retailer, I am a comic book retailer, a brick and mortar comic book retailer, Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, located in beautiful downtown Redback, New Jersey, currently closed due to the pandemic and stuff. So I'm very familiar with the good folks at Diamond. Why?
Because Diamond has stopped shipping books to brick and mortar stores. As of the 23rd. Diamond announced that it would suspend new products until further notice in response to a myriad of economic, regulatory, and public health concerns related to the COVID-19 situation. In other words, retailers, like yourselves, will have no supply of new product, and publishers will have very limited channels to bring their periodicals to market.
Oh, my God. That was, we were already working on when I say we, they are back home, But I was talking about with Carol, like, picking up your books and kind of curbside and stuff. But
Right.
now we're not going to have any product to sell.
Yeah, I don't think so. Until
I mean, look, I'm not being unreasonable, and as much as I understand comic books aren't a fucking necessity, like food and medicine and stuff like that. But why are they stopping shipping? Just because of, like, hey, trucks and people, and because they're packing comics into boxes that people then touch?
yeah, I think it's let's see, blah blah blah.
Because
blah,
it's
blah.
certainly like, the way the comic book industry works, the way I understand it, is we're 3 months out. So it's like, it's not like they're like, well, there ain't no books to sell.
Right. It's let me see, blah blah blah. Here's a statement from Steve Jeppy, who
Steve
is the
Jeppy
chairman
runs
and
Diamond.
CEO of. We are hearing from thousands of retailers that they can no longer service their customers.
Say it again, louder.
We are hearing from thousands of retailers that they can no longer service their customers as they have in the past. Many of them forced to close by government action or resort to in-person or curbside delivery. Even though those still open are seeing reduced foot traffic, in most cases, a situation that seems likely to worsen with time. Our publishing partners are also faced with numerous issues in their supply chain, working with creators, printers, and increasingly uncertainty when it comes to the production and delivery of products for us to distribute. Our freight networks are feeling the strain and are already experiencing delays, while our distribution centers in New York, California, and Pennsylvania were all closed late last week. Our own home office in Maryland is instituting a work-from-home policy, and experts say we can expect further closures. Therefore, my only logical conclusion is to cease the distribution of new weekly product until there is greater clarity on the progress made towards stemming the spread of this disease. They went to clarify that retailers can still replenish stock of perennial strong sellers like graphic novels and games through Diamond and its affiliate.
What? Wait. So you can get old stuff, but you just can't
get
get
old
new
stuff. You can get new stuff.
I don't understand.
But I think that what is happening already is
This is going to kill a bunch of comic book stores right there.
it's all. I mean, comic book stores
Might
as
kill
a,
ours.
as a business was already kind of on the brink in lots of different.
As a retailer, I could say that. Thank God we got a gimmick. And
We
as
got a
much
gimmick.
as, like, Jay and Silent Bob, and our store has been around for over 20 years at this point as a brick and mortar establishment and stuff. But we were already kind of like, ugh, this is going to hurt. But, there's a certain amount of cushioning, and we can always do online stuff and whatnot. But without new product, this might actually...
Yeah, I think it's most stores, most might be an exaggeration, but a majority of stores, I think, were like a majority of Americans, which were 1 or 2 months away from finding themselves in dire financial straits.
Yeah.
And I think that something like this, an event that is going to take, in some cases, generously weeks, probably more realistically months, that is just time that so many of these stores just can't actually get back.
Yeah.
Without product to sell, aren't going to be able to meet their rents, aren't going to be able to make their mortgages, aren't going to be able to pay their staffs. And it's the comic book brick and mortar industry has already receded greatly over the last 10 years. And this might be, nobody wants to call it like the death knell for an industry, but at the very least, a paradigm shift in the way comics works.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't lead with this. As a comic book store owner, fuck. Oh my God, does the dream die soon? Like, because we've been, making it work for 2 decades, but like, is this how the stash stops?
I mean, I think that it's going to cause a lot of re-examination of the comic book business itself, like soup to nuts.
Which was already, like, we heard rumors about, there were, who owns Warner Brothers now?
AT&T.
There's rumors for the last few months that they are, like, not interested in the comic book division. They fired Dan DiDio last month, and part of the reason they said was they didn't like where it was the new DC Rebirth, whatever it was fucking called this time, was going to go. But another part of it sounds like they were, I saw some report where it was like they're thinking about selling the comic book division to Marvel, and I don't think there's truth to that at all. But I do think, AT&T is just like, look, I understand we need these licenses. I understand it's great to own Batman and Superman, but comic books? Why are we publishing? This is a loss leader. Not even a leader. It's just a loss. So this might be a time when they might use this as an excuse, to fucking,
or
Kill a
the,
business that's been hanging on.
or at the very least to transform a business that's been hanging on. I mean, and we've seen
more hopeful. I like that.
We've seen other.
Keep talking.
We've seen other versions of this, right? Like the music business did not know how to grapple with digital,
Yeah.
and so went through a drastic reinvention and was in very.
Ooh, there's a question.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in a world where Diamond's like, there will be no new books, what about digital? Can you still get new comics digitally?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from what I understand, Marvel and DC are still actively in production mode. They're still like paying artists to draw. They're still
You are
paying
fucking
writers.
kidding.
They not that they're like encouraging it, but I think
No,
some
but I'm
of-
saying like that people are still going to be able to get their comics
Yeah, I mean, I think
because technically,
Comixology was always an outlet.
and while Diamond is the only game in town for paper books, you can still read your books on Comixology, the DC app, the Marvel app. So
Yeah,
they'll still
webtoons,
do
there's
new
still
stuff.
There's still avenues for you to get your comics.
I mean,
in.
look, I wouldn't want to be in the position Steve Jeppy's in, but business person, I'm sure he's like, fuck all these fucking bills and no money coming in, blah blah blah. But you're the only game in town, and if you let people realize, oh, I'm free, without having to pick up comic books every week, like I never thought I could be this person. They might, it might be hard to convince them to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that digital has been making like vast inroads, and the readership is increasingly growing because the delivery method is instantaneous and easy, and you could subscribe and read everything you've ever wanted to read with a Marvel Unlimited subscription, or DC has their own version of that, where for a monthly fee like Netflix, everything in our library you have access to.
You gotta remember, man, this is a culture where we saw in our lifetime people give up photo albums.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody fucking keeps photo albums anymore. Nobody prints out pictures. Kodak fucking died because nobody prints out photos anymore because you got an app where you can collect them all. You can put them all up on fucking Instagram or something like that. So it might be a world where people are like, oh, I can just read my comics here. I don't have to worry about bending them, picking out the perfect book, and fucking bagging and boarding it.
Yeah, our priority has shown with both music and movies and DVDs, we have shifted from a have culture to a have access culture. I don't need to have the thing anymore. I just need to know that I can watch it when I'd like to. I need to know that I can read it when I want to or listen to it when I have to. Like Spotify doesn't rise the way it has if it was, I need to own this album. It's like, no, I can listen when I want to listen.
It's true.
And I think that I don't think comics will ever go away. I don't think the print edition will ever go away. I think it becomes vinyl. I think it becomes a thing that there's a bunch of purists who still love, and we will pay exorbitant sums of money to get our hands on, but it no longer becomes a consumer media the way that it had been. And in that regard, I think that stores like The Stash can still exist because they're still vinyl stores. There's still a collector's market for that. It becomes
That's true. It
becomes
becomes
a rarefied thing.
boutique-y, like a record store where you're going to go in and go like, well, I ain't expecting to buy a record for $12. I'm probably going to have to buy a record for 50 or 75.
Yeah, and
so
like
comic books might they'll do like what was that Detective 1000? Was that like a $10 book or something? Maybe that becomes the standard. Like every book is $10.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just don't publish floppies anymore. Maybe it's all trades. Maybe all the floppies go online. You show up to the store, you get your $12 trade, and that's it. That's the way. And if you really want a floppy, maybe they'll make one for you for $25, print on demand. If you got to have it.
Well, that's it. They're like, we're doing a limited run of 1,000.
Yeah.
And if you get it, you get it.
Best card stock in the world, best paper stock in the world.
And it would be like, think about what a boon that would be, I think, and I'm sure someone online will correct me, but wouldn't that be a boon for a comic book store market to suddenly have like every week is a chase book?
Every week is a chase book, but is the audience there to support?
You only need this many at that point.
That's right. Like it becomes, you're drastically shrinking the number of stores, but the ones that remain can be someone. You're not Starbucks anymore. You're now like, oh, there's one version of the store in your state, maybe in your city,
Very
and
true.
you got to go find it. And so it's bad for those small business owners. Clearly, like the coronavirus is awful for almost every business owner.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that there's opportunity in it, but there's going to be a sort of re-examining of at least this particular business model, as well as lots of other business models. Like JC was telling us, like 50% of the bars and restaurants in LA are going to close.
Let's talk to a real fucking store owner and stuff. Somebody boots on the ground. JC, you come on, talk about the fucking. Don't touch my shit.
I've got a camera.
You got
He's
you
got a
got
camera.
one?
Yeah.
Look at you!
Oh shit, son! We got a third.
Maintaining
bang.
the distance.
I like that we're bouncing the content to the fans like the bat signal in Batman Returns, like off mirrors in Gotham, and then there's the guy.
What have you heard as a boots on the ground restaurateur? You've had to be closed.
I mean, we closed 2 weeks ago, I think, and like the day before it was mandated, and it's it's scary. We're on Hollywood Boulevard. Our rent is astronomical.
Yeah.
We're paying over $700 a day in rent that we're closed.
Jesus.
So.
Without anything coming in to
with
offset
nothing
that.
coming in. And I think thankfully for the employees here, they just passed the bill. They're going to hopefully get really good unemployment benefits for a few months. But unless there's something to do with rent relief or something there, it's a lot of money if we're closed to May or June until this thing subsides. And then we've got to hope that people will come back out, that they're not scared to go out.
That being said, you're not one of these cats that's like, fucking, let's open up on Easter and shit like that.
No. No. I would rather be safe. I mean, even the week before we were supposed to close, nobody was here. It was dead.
Right.
Like, you had like one guy here, one guy there, one guy over there.
This is going to be the new fashion. What you need to do is make a lot of Scum and Villainy branded fucking rubber gloves. Everybody comes in, gets rubber gloves and shit. Because for the first few months after this shit, everyone. It's going to be like the fucking denouement of an alien invasion movie where the people are still like, oh, there's one. Fucking still killing shit months after the fucking fact. People are still going to be like, fucking germs, they're everywhere. So you rubber gloves, man.
I mean, it's either going to be that or it's going to be the fucking rave in Zion. It's going to be like,
Oh shit.
hello, everybody!
It's going to be slow-mo, confusing and baffling and
Why is everybody just covered in oil?
is this still the Matrix?
What's happening? Why is he wearing that clothes? Did he turn into Shaft?
Yeah, man, those cats were not socially isolating.
No.
All right, what else we got, man?
Let's see. We have one last story, which is also not all that rosy, but as
Fuck,
far as I
another
know,
sad story?
It's not so much sad.
You're like, your comic book business is done for, and you're out of the movie business. I'm like, what?
I didn't need to come here for this shit.
I was like, I could have told you that 20 years ago.
But no, Stuart Gordon.
Oh, this is sad.
This is sad. The filmmaker who made Reanimator,
From Beyond. Robot Jocks.
I love that movie.
I mean, he was on Little People and Giant Robots decades before
forget it. Like Pacific Rim. Like
Pacific Rim.
It was, and Robot Jocks, if you guys haven't seen it, I'm not even sure where you can find it. But it's ridiculous and amazing.
Yeah. All of his movies were. I didn't see in the aughts, my friend Vincent said that he made a bunch of really interesting indie films.
I didn't see those. I
Yeah.
did see the science fiction movie called Fortress, starring Christophe Lambert. And I did see fucking Space Truckers with Steven Dorff.
I remember Space Truckers as well. God, that's going back.
Yeah. And he also wrote Abel Ferrara's Body Hunters.
Oh, and that's a good,
That's
Body
a good movie.
Snatchers. That's a good movie.
Body Snatchers, excuse me.
I'll tell you right now, man, like, I really identify with this cat because, like, he passed, he was how old?
He was 72.
72. Big, long life, not long enough, particularly for a genius like that who gave us such joy. But I read all his stuff, and as I read it, I'm like, oh, this is what it's going to be like when I die. Because it's going to be, he worked his whole life. He made a bunch of things. But everyone's like, the fucking movie where the guy takes his fucking head and then eats come on, man. Like, that's his Clerks. Like, fucking, he will, like, no matter what he did for the rest of his life, people are like, Reanimator, bro. Reanimator. And he was like, I know. That was such a fucking amazing, wild movie. I tweeted today. I was like, you don't get to Tusk, or I don't get to Tusk without Reanimator. And I'm sure some people are like, well, then fucking I wish you hadn't seen Reanimator. But, yeah, fucking Stuart Gordon, man, what a legend. It's not the sole reason, but part of the reason I do what I do is because he did what he did.
Yeah, I mean, he was part of that wave of filmmakers in the '80s, specifically the '80s, who were working for like Canon Films and Golden Globus and just making schlock with love. Like Sam Raimi was one of those guys, just grinding out these sort of exploitation movies because he loved them. And you could tell interesting stories in them.
Until somebody was like, "We'll give you a lot of money. Stop grinding.
Yeah, dude, you got
start making Spider-Man and shit."
Dude,
speaking of which, we haven't really even spoke about this, but Sam Raimi gonna direct
Doctor Strange too.
I mean, like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
That we live in that world where Sam Raimi's coming back into Marvel, but a different Marvel than the Marvel he left. And he's a big Ditko guy. So he's done Spidey. Now he gets to do Doctor Strange. And I love Scott Derrickson. I love the movie that he made and stuff. So I'm not like, this is a step up. But fuck.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi. And if it's the Multiverse of Madness?
Yep.
One of the rumors going around online, and we got to be careful. This is a rumor. I know nothing. I know nobody, kids. Anytime we say shit, people are like, Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith confirmed.
Yeah, I'm confirming some fucking fantasy bullshit I read online that I'm like, ooh, that would be cool. Somebody was theorizing that, like, if Sam Raimi is directing it and it's a multiverse, can you get Toby to come back as a Spider-Man or Peter Parker? You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be fucking crazy. Like, and we've seen their willingness to, J. Jonah Jameson is the same J. Jonah Jameson from Raimi's flicks.
Yeah. I mean, my only hesitation would be...
Don't hesitate. Support it.
Is that Into the Spider-Verse did that so well?
Yeah, so well that the big grown-up movies that aren't cartoons, like the live-action movies, they're going to be like, it worked there. Let's fucking take this shit and do it here. That way we can, like, have 1,000 Spider-Mans and shit. We can have one Spider-Man every month.
Spider-Mans.
Spider-Month.
Spider-Month. But yeah, Stuart Gordon, R.I.P.
Absolute legend, man. If you haven't seen Reanimator in a red hot minute, let's all watch it tonight. Maybe not together.
Nope. We'll all be on Zoom.
I'm going to go home, get high, and watch Reanimator. Well, look, let's be honest. There's no might to it. I'm going to go home and get high. But what I watch is the thing. And I think Reanimator might be on the menu
He was also, and I didn't know this, the co-creator of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise.
Yes, he wrote the original draft of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, which, also...
Multi-talented guy, man. Again, like, everyone's like, Reanimator, and rightfully fucking so. Reanimator is akin to that episode of, the cartoon episode, the Bugs Bunny short, where Daffy and Bugs are competing, and Daffy's like, and now I'm going to eat this poison, and now I'm going to eat this dynamite, and now, and he blows up, and he's like, what a great fucking show, and he's like, I can only do it once.
The aristocrats.
It's so fucking tough to, like, get past that. And I remember as a kid, like, going, fucking Reanimator. And then when he did From Beyond, I was like, the same fucking guy? And he's also doing fucking H.P. Lovecraft? And it was good, but, like, nothing will ever touch Reanimator, man. Same as, like, and again, I'm comparing myself to the guy only in as much as I know that feeling of, like, oh, you like the first one. Thank you. I've made a bunch of them since, but whatever. I'm glad you like any of them.
Have you seen that shelf?
I've
like, all of that.
Made a walrus movie, too. You know what? Doesn't matter. As long as you like the black and white one, that's totally fine.
I will say, though, if you're going to get high, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is also a pretty decent pick.
Not bad.
Where it's like, oh, what the fuck is with that ant?
And it's so imaginative, man, in terms of, like, fucking, it's the thing that, it's so cinematic in as much as, like, I'm a adult man and that Cheerio's fucking huge. Like, that captures your imagination in such a wonderful way, man. Did we get to talk about Invisible Man?
I haven't seen it yet.
Let me tell you something about the Invisible Man.
Okay.
It made a lot of money and shit, so obviously I'm not fucking hipping you to something to, like, you gotta see it. Well, obviously you gotta see it.
I gotta see it.
But
I got no place else to go.
So fucking good. Lee Wanell, is that his name? As I'm watching this movie, like, because they, $7 million. Big ass Universal movie, $7 million. I'm watching the movie and I'm like, it is a cheap movie to make if one of your main characters is just not there. It's the cheapest special effect in the world to be like, is he here? And it's like, sure. And then you put a string on a chair and pull it. Halfway through the movie, they get into some more effects and stuff because I'm telling you, as a storyteller, the ingenuity of how the guy's invisible impressed me no fucking end. Because I don't remember the ones from childhood or like the black and white one, but like, was it Claude Rains?
Yeah.
As the Invisible Man? How did he get invisible? His potion?
It was like a serum. It was always like, glug, glug, I get invisible.
You know what I'm saying? Where,
And now
you
I'm a
know,
mummy.
we live in a different world now where it's like, no serum's going to fucking make you invisible. But the pseudoscience they came up with, I was like, well, that's fucking plausible.
I'll buy that for $1.
Well, they must be working on that right now. Really fucking imaginative. I saw Onward. Mark, we texted because I put up a fucking
I saw
live
your Facebook
stream.
Live. It's like, oh, Kev, you should have told. I'd have warned you, man.
He was like, I should have warned you about Onward. Oh my God! If you've had first you go into it going like, if you've ever had a dad, this is gonna be a nut biter of a movie because it's about a dead dad. If you have a dead dad, it's even bigger of a nut biter in the movie. And then you find out in the third act, sure, it's about dads, but it's really about having a brother. Having a sibling, but specifically having a brother. And it's very specifically about having an older sibling. That fucking destroyed me. I called up my brother, started sending him a bunch of texts. I was shooting the movie and I was like, you have to fucking watch this. And he's like, we're going to watch it, man, because him and Jerry, his husband, they love Disney and stuff. He was like, but based on your reaction, I'll watch it sooner. And then he fucking texted me after he watched and he was like, oh my God, I understand why. It's such a beautiful movie. So well done. And they do some shit. Spoilers, like see the movie, we're going to spoil it a little bit. As a storyteller, how fucking impressed were you with the I don't want to spoil it too much.
Yeah. I mean, the movie's driving towards one specific thing, which
Yes.
is your main character is
Tell him.
like...
Don't tell him what it is, but...
Yeah, it's, I want to do this thing that I've never gotten to do before, and through this weird-ass magical thing, I'm going to have my chance.
Yes.
To get the thing I've always wanted.
And that's the movie they sold us. And that's the movie they give you for most of the time. You're on a journey going, this little kid is fine. You see it in the fucking trailer. The young brother is finally going to meet his dad. And the older brother, they implied in the trailer like he had met the dad. He was around before the dad died.
Yeah. So, yeah, the younger kid, the Tom Holland character, was a baby when the father was born. Has no memories whatsoever of that guy. But the older brother, which is Chris Pratt, is like, yeah, no, I was like 6 or 7 when he passed away, and so I have all these memories.
He's like, I've got 3 memories. Then later on, he's like, I've got 4.
Yeah,
and the 4th one is heartbreaking.
Yeah, the 4th one I hate. But yeah, and so you're driving towards an end that you think is coming, and even if you get that ending, it would be totally satisfying for you. But then it doesn't do it. And it doesn't do it in a way that is like heartbreaking.
And beautiful.
And it's, yeah.
And a brilliant choice. Like, especially the moment they've been building toward, the perspective on that moment is just nothing short of fantastic. And it takes so much to subvert an audience's expectation for that moment. You've been on this journey the whole fucking time going like, we're gonna fucking see this guy.
Yeah.
And that they give you, they deliver on the promise, but in such an extraordinarily generous and unforeseen way that instantly the movie took fucking, and I was already in, but it took a couple fucking jumps where I was like, as a writer, I was like, I'm in this business. I try to be as manipulative as the rest with my storytelling. I did not fucking see that coming. And I'm so glad that that was the movie they gave me as opposed to the one that I assumed that I was going to see, which was good enough, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the fucking, in the third act, they were like, oh, you think that's the movie? This is the movie. And suddenly you're like, ah!
Yeah. It reminds me a little bit, and maybe more than a little bit, of Frozen. The end of Frozen does similar things.
Does it really? I still have never seen Frozen.
Then I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Don't. Now I might watch it during the quarantine.
Yeah, like once you get past the whatever inbred barnacling you have over, the fucking song.
I love the song.
Let It Go, which is a great song, but
it'll be nice to see what the context is.
Yeah, it's like,
all this. Oh, that's what she wants to let go. Whole time I've been hearing this song, I didn't know what it was.
Herpes. Good for you. Let it go, kid.
Does it have herpes? Because now I'm really fucking curious.
Ice herpes. But
Ice herpes.
It does drive to a similar place where you're like, oh, it's a romance, but not that
don't fucking spoil it, man.
Oh, it's a fucking,
I don't know nothing about it except that song.
Well,
and Olaf the snowman. Because everyone's like, didn't you Olaf Clerks? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
You're right. But yeah, like they do that similar sort of thing where it doesn't give you the movie you want. It gives you the movie you need. And you could not have seen that coming, except you totally could. If you
Extraordinary.
Oh, it's great.
I thought of you when I watched that movie. I was like, that's something Mark Bernard would do. Where you thought you were doing this, but instead you're doing this. Like, that's great fucking storytelling.
It's something I would have tried.
Definitely worth a watch. Once again, anytime I say something, I put up a tweet about fucking, hey, I watched Birds of Prey, and it's a fun flick, and I like this moment particularly. And some motherfuckers are like, you're a fucking shill, a dirty fucking cocksucking shill. Like, yeah, I like shit too. Nobody pays me to fucking say I like movies, man. Like, I wish they did, particularly now as the business shuts down. What a great way to make a living that would be, to just be like, I like shit.
There should be the cameo for movie studios where they will just pay you to just go on your phone and be like, you know what I really liked? I really like fucking Onward.
Thumbs up on this.
$20.
I don't know why it is, man. I am a shill on the level of I just like things that I like. I will happily tell you about all the shit I like. And nobody has to pay me a fucking dime to do it, and they don't. I promise you. If that was a thing, I know there are influencers in this business and shit, but if I could get a fucking dime out of Marvel or DC to talk about their movies, you don't think I'd fucking tell you about that? Oh my God, I'd be the most clever fucker in the world. I just talk about this shit because I love this fucking shit, and I love it when it's well done and stuff. And great storytelling I'm a grown-ass man. I know everyone's like, you cry at a fucking drop of a hat. I'm a grown-ass man who knows how the sausage is made. Mm-hmm. And still, if you could fucking rip open my heart, and I was in that world with those fucking, I don't even know what they were, elves or whatever the fuck.
I think so.
I bought it hook, line, and sinker and shit. And if you could do that, I'll happily sing about that to the rooftops, particularly now when we're all stuck inside. Like, who don't want to feel good about like watching something fucking cool and shit like that? But it has nothing to do with somebody giving me money, trust me. That is not a real job, kids. Like, I know people like on the internet are like, I have a lot of assumptions about Hollywood. And some of them could be true, I guess. But like, let me tell you something. I've been trying hard to get this job where they give you money to say like nice things about movies. It doesn't exist as far as I know. We just do this for free.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think for as many people that think that you get paid to say you like things, people think that I hate everything.
That's true. They do.
They do.
On Twitter, they're always like, oh, fucking, as soon as like we put up a tweet like,
he hates everything.
We're going to talk about this. Like, I'm sure Mark shit on it and Kevin loves it too much. I'm like, oh my God, do we have stereotypes?
Already?
But it's not true. Mark loves so many things. It's just
when I don't like it.
Yeah, then you're gonna fucking hear it. And also, by comparison, I like everything. So, Mark, like, I'll blow something for a half an hour and be like, it was amazing, Mark. And Mark's like,
I gotta come off of this.
Yeah, here's the truth. It may be my truth, but it's the truth.
Yeah, there's that. Do you remember the Tammy Show? It was a teenage American music something. It was a 1960s concert that somehow managed to rope in every fucking music act that mattered. And the most important version of this is that it was like a 3-day festival, and the final 2 acts were going to be either James Brown or the Rolling Stones. And so then they tried to figure out who's going to fucking be the final closing act. And ultimately, the Rolling Stones, they won. Whether it was a coin toss or a dice roll or whatever the fuck it was. The Rolling Stones won. And so James Brown's like, all right, you're the closing act? Fine. And then he goes on stage and tears the roof off the place. Makes it impossible to follow. He's fucking doing splits, and he's moonwalking, and he might be floating, I'm not sure. And he's like, you got capes? We don't have any fucking capes. Well, the Rolling Stones are both 9 capes. He's the original Lando Calrissian. And then so the concert ends, and James Brown's like, all right, follow that. And they do, and they just do their fucking, Rolling Stone shit. I feel like that sometimes when you, slobber all over something. It's like, Mark? Oh, fuck. I gotta follow
wondering
James
where
Brown.
this story was going. I was like, did I fucking smoke away the beginning of this thing? Oh, I'm James Brown?
You're James Brown.
I have a cape?
You totally have a fucking cape.
It's the best part of that story.
Spangly and heels. You're like White Prince.
I feel that way about you many times. I felt that way when I came back in January because you had been doing the show while I was away, and I got behind the bar and you were so sharp, and I was like, Star Wars, right? People were like, Star Wars, right? Yeah.
But that is, I think, somehow the end of the news.
That's all the news? Hey, man, do you want to jump on and tell your story or no? Because you're like the only person in the world that, like, I know that has gone through an experience that the whole world is wondering about. Put her in the slot. Where should she go?
She can sit right there. Just turn on, like, flip the little.
And sit where, on the other side of the table?
Yeah, just anywhere in the booth. Where? You can just sit in here.
On the other side. I knew it.
Yeah, the other
Over
side.
on the other side. PJ. Okay. This is, which name you want to go by? This is
many names do
PJ
you have?
Falon. She's got a bunch. She's got her Govey and like 19 aliases. PJ Falon. She works in the industry with us. One of the things she does, amongst many things she does, is what do they call it when it's for dudes? Grooming. Men's grooming. Say hello to everybody at home. Hi. I've worked with Falon on and off for years, 6 years. She worked with Method on, what was that show called? Drop the Mic and stuff, which was part of the reason we got Method into Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So, Red is her nickname in the business because her name is Falon and she feels a lot of people fuck it up, so she just goes with the easy, I'm Red, and so everyone kind of goes with that. Red, who have you been shooting with this week? And you've shot with this cat for a while. Yeah. Into the microphone. Okay, so Red shoots with Larry King. Larry King.
How old is Larry King?
He's almost 87. He's 86.
Oh, damn.
So the great Larry King, who I've interviewed with many times, wonderful journalist, 86, gonna be 87, clearly in the
danger zone.
The danger zone. High risk indeed. But wants to continue being who he is, doing the news. But he don't want to stop. But his is more important because he actually talks to like political leaders and shit. We're like, you know what happened on the Mandalorian?
I'm James Brown? Yes, you're James Brown.
So how many people on the crew? Must be skeleton crew at this point. So rightfully so. So he's working from home like the rest of us, Larry is. Okay. This is what I found fascinating because we live in a country right now, we live in a world where a lot of people are like, do I have the coronavirus? How would I know? Can I get a test? And testing is not as up and running.
No.
As far as I know, I haven't been reading the right articles, but I don't think you can just get tested.
The demand far outweighs the supply.
Falon has been tested because in order to work with Larry, tell the story.
In order to work with Larry, his son makes you, well, he doesn't make you. He gives you the option of taking the COVID-19 test because Larry's such a high risk. So he surprised us one day when we got to set, and he said, hey, guys, we had access to the test. And in order to, I would appreciate it if you could take it before working with my father since he's such high risk. Of course, that was very shocking because it's a blood test. It's not like a mouth swab. I get there's different types of tests.
It's a blood test. This is the thing. Let's break it down for number one. Like it's hysterical. You with the mask on. She's not trying to hide her identity. It's just we live in.
I feel like we stumbled into like an R. Kelly documentary.
No, it's the coronavirus. All right. So what is the test? What did it look like? Come in a box?
It's a blood test, and it's like a little. It looks like a pregnancy test a little bit. And basically, what they do is it's like a lancet or something.
Ah, they cut you
No, they poke you. They poke you in the thumb.
with a razor.
No, with a little needle poker. You know how
Yeah,
you
like.
get, where you're getting like an STD test, where they just,
I don't know anything about STD tests.
No, but the thing that like most diabetics have to do when they test their blood.
My
sugar.
dad, his whole life was always pricking his finger. That thing. So they did that to you?
They did that to us. They gave us an option. It wasn't mandatory. I don't want to make it seem like in order for us.
This is just smart to do if you're fucking working with somebody who's high risk.
An option. A lot of people want access to it, so they said we would appreciate it if you did, but it wasn't like get out if you don't.
That's a better microphone.
So
I would have been like, "Are you kidding me? I'll do it for the
I
test."
kind of freaked out a little bit because I'm afraid of needles.
Right.
Even poking. I'm just uncomfortable unless I, want it. But, so I had to like build up to it.
Unless you want to, like, sometimes I like to do heroin, so that's when I like a poking.
You gotta get me there. So basically, is what I'm saying. I wasn't warmed up because they didn't tell us beforehand that was an option that was going to be offered to us.
So were you scared to take the test?
Yeah.
Why?
I would base it like the feeling that I felt was like an unwanted pregnancy test. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of like I want it to be negative, but what if it's positive sort of situation. So that's what I was basically dealing with. But also, too, was just, like I said, my phobia of just blood, needles, and everything.
And
it
look
was
at
all
you.
at once. I can't explain the feeling, but it was like, but then at the same time, it was like, wow, we're being offered something that a lot of people aren't getting, and we should see this as like, a blessing. So it was so many emotions. So I don't want to take it for granted. Like, oh my God, I'm afraid of needles, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was thankful. It's just they just threw it on us.
You had
right
no
there.
idea it was happening.
No idea.
But that to me, the most shocking part of the story was I was like, you took the test?
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, I
Kevin?
mean, like, I don't even like
Why?
people in
Not Larry.
people in government haven't taken the test yet. Like, you see, like, governors going like, we don't have the test, and PJ was like, oh, I took the test. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's Larry
I was like,
King,
did you
man.
study? So, and you came up.
I was negative. Yes, I was negative. You find out within 10 to 20 minutes. It's, I guess, it's this new testing that a South Korean doctor came up with. And apparently he shipped a whole bunch of units over here to the U.S. And it's the fastest test results, I guess. Because others, you have to wait like a few days, I think. Don't quote me on anything, but...
No, you're right. Because anytime, any story I've read, it was like somebody went in and got a test.
Yeah.
They were self-isolating, and then they're told, yes, you do or don't.
That's why a lot of people are like, how did you find out so quickly? I was like, I don't know. It's Larry King. He knows people. But, like, you find out within 10 to 20 minutes. And the whole entire time I was staring at that test. Like, because I didn't know what they were going to do. I was like, are you going to turn
Just
me in?
laser
Like,
heating the corona away.
Yeah.
I didn't
Are they
know
gonna
what-
shoot me now?
I didn't know
Yeah,
what
really.
happened.
They're like, if this comes up positive.
Yeah, because I thought to myself, I was like, if it comes up positive, are they like, is my career over? Is it like, you don't know what's going to happen.
True.
So, like I said, it was all types of emotions. Once you showed up negative, then that's when like the moment of like, thank you for offering the test, and you know what I mean. That's when the gratitude came in after the panic.
And it's nice to know that there's a different version of the test than we had been told, which was the swab that they stick like up your nose and like deep into your brain.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I
and
think
like
Trump got
scraping the inside of your skull to get to you. Like,
Oh, that sounds like Egyptian stuff.
I'd much rather just prick a finger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
finger.
that sounds way
and then
preferable.
Push out the blood.
Give me that quick prick.
Let me
I
tell
didn't
you.
get a lollipop afterwards. I was sad.
You got the test. That's better than a lollipop.
I'm being
I
a
bet you
smart
people would
ass.
pay like a lot of money to get the test.
Yeah, apparently people are like charging for it. It's ridiculous, $400.
Like, I bet you if you went to like eBay or something like that.
But it's actually
if you could even fucking
like
find
that
it.
test is only like $18.
The
So if
eBay
you-
test?
Yeah, no.
The,
The test.
yeah, the eBay test.
I want to take that test
The
right
test
now.
that they gave us is $18. So it's
It only
like,
costs $18.
That's it.
They charge you for it?
No, they didn't charge us. No. But
That'd
I'm
have been
just
weird.
saying,
They're like, take the test. Now give us $18.
yeah, but
like,
I hear people are charging $400 for the test. I don't know.
to
it's
take the
just
test.
yeah.
I mean, I haven't even heard of anybody taking the test because as
Really?
far as I knew,
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's taken it either.
you are literally
You're
the
the
first
unicorn
person.
in
Yeah,
the
you are
world.
the unicorn. You're the first person I've heard of that has taken the test. You're the only person that I know for sure
That's taking a test.
doesn't have corona.
Wow, you guys should work for Larry King then.
Fuck yeah, that's the point of this story.
Yeah, that's the point.
Who is Larry interviewing? It better be important people, man.
He's today he interviewed Dr. Drew.
Good.
But like I said,
Wait,
they're
Dr. Drew is Love Lines, Dr. Drew?
Dr. Drew, because
Well,
he's a doctor.
Any
he's
port
a
of storm, a
doctor.
doctor's a doctor.
But apparently, there was speculation
it
on whether or
though?
not he was for the corona quarantine or not. Apparently, there was people saying that he was like, it's a bunch of BS.
Who?
Dr. Drew?
So that's why they had him on the show.
Dr. Drew was
but he
earlier
clarified
saying-
it was not that he's like follow protocols, but that's why he was on the show. 'cause
He
it
wasn't a
was
COVID denier.
Exactly. It was a question of whether or not he was.
That's
or
the thing, right? COVID deniers.
I mean,
Which is bad.
it seems as
Stay
if
inside.
potentially our president is a COVID denier. Who's like, we're opening the country in time for Easter, and everybody's like, dude, don't do that.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea. Packing a bunch of people into church?
Yeah.
That sounds like a bad idea. I
So
read an
what do you
article.
guys do? Are you guys quarantined or what? Is this sick? Are you guys 6 feet
6
apart?
feet apart.
We
You're
measured it
looking
out,
at
tape to tape. We are obeying the.
Whenever we
stay-at-home-
cough, we do it
You do Elmo
into
cough.
our elbow. It's
Social
elbow coughing
distancing.
only and shit.
Social distancing. Okay.
Wait a second. I read an article in the New York Times today about a lady whose husband got COVID. And she became full-time nurse, her and her daughter. And it sounds fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Like really bad. Like, you know, because when we hear about it, we're all like, oh, we don't want to get it. The pandemic, these are the numbers. But this was a woman, boots on the ground, talking about, like, he can't move. He has to lay on his fucking side. Today he took a piece of an orange and shit. And oranges are so rare. It's an exotic fruit at this point. Like, she had to take him to the hospital. They live in New York City. So they had to bundle him up and shuffle down the street. He couldn't fucking even move. And so it sounds fucking, like, beyond miserable. And he's considered high risk because he's got, like, asthma or something like that.
Oh.
But, man, I don't want to. You know, a lot of people are like, if I get it, I get it. I don't want this at all. It ain't like getting a flu or a cold. It's taking people fucking down, man, like hardcore. And not like
the picture they painted early on was it'll be just like the flu. Like you'll get a high fever, but you can weather it. It's only if you're super young or super old. But
One of my friends tested positive for it today.
What?
Yeah.
Where'd they get a test? What friend? Famous?
No, he's a producer, so he
Producer. There you go. One
so
of the
he got
elites.
the test, but
You and me ain't getting no test because we ain't elite enough.
Oh my god! But no, he had flu-like symptoms though.
He had symptoms?
Yeah.
That's the thing. You should only really be like worried about the test
If
get
you have
symptoms.
symptoms for it. He's 54 years old and he took the test and he tested positive for it. Both him
My
and his
kid
husband.
yesterday was just like, I got the shits. I'm like, I don't think that's, which I've now
Maybe
just
she's nervous. I don't know. Maybe she's
Sorry,
stressed.
Harley.
Sorry.
Feel better.
I think the whole world got the shits right now, to
Yeah,
be
no
honest
kidding,
with you.
man.
So,
My brother and his wife are expecting a baby
oh,
in New York.
congratulations.
Like, yeah, great, but like within the next 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And so they're
It's hard to find a hospital.
I mean, but like at the moment
would
they
imagine.
feel okay about it
Right.
because she tends to be early. It's going to be their second child. But if it was like if she was 5 months pregnant, then they would just be panicked, like more than they already are panicked. But like, all right, 2 weeks, maybe we can get in before the crazy rush to hospital bed starts, and maybe they're saving, the maternity wards because there are, probably somewhere between 1 million and 5 million
Why don't you do
pregnant
at-home
people.
birth?
Or at home birth, which he doesn't want to do because he's not that cat.
I
pretty
saw in New York as well, since we're on the New York subject, one of my favorite hotels in the world, Four Seasons Hotel, the I.M. Pei Design Building on 57th. They are donating their room because nobody's fucking staying, nobody traveling anywhere. They're donating their rooms to all the doctors, nurses, and people working like in the hospitals there in the city, so they could work, go spend the night in a really nice fucking hotel room because these rooms are like $2,000 a night and shit. That is coming together, especially in a world where it's like it's no skin off their ass. Like we got an empty building. Fuck, man, if this is gonna help, this is gonna help and stuff. We're gonna see a lot of things probably get turned into temporary hospitals and shit. They were talking about in New York. They were looking at the Javits Center.
Yeah, I saw that also, which makes all the sense in the world because you're
does.
not holding a conference.
But
and
it
you
looks a
have
lot
nothing
like
in
that
space.
Steven Soderbergh movie Contagion. Once you start taking big fucking rooms and putting beds and shit. And I don't know if you saw that movie, Mark, but it didn't really work out well for a lot of fucking people. I remember seeing that movie years ago, and their big marketing hook was like, the average human touches their face 3,000 times a day and shit. And back then, it was like, oh, that's fucked up. Now, is terrifying.
No, Stephen King put up the audiobook chapter of The Stand, which is
With
all about
Captain
the spread
Trips,
of Captain
the spread
Trips.
of Captain Trips.
Which, as I remember it, living in New York at the time, riding the subway, reading a chapter about a dude in a subway who coughs, and then everybody in that subway car is dead. And I'm like, motherfucker, don't do that to me.
Oh, let's not hope. Let's hope that we don't get anywhere close to the Lincoln Tunnel scene in that book.
Oh, God. Harrowing.
I forgot about Captain Trips. I was thinking about the other day, the Army of the 12 Monkeys. I'm like, everyone goes for Planet of the Apes because of the ending of that movie and stuff, but at the same time, I'm like, Army of the 12 Monkeys, man. At the end of 12 Monkeys, the guy opens the fucking pathogen and shit in the airport and shit. Oh,
That's the one with Brad Pitt, right?
Yes, where
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's just like monkey.
freaked out, yeah.
One of his greatest performances.
He
He
Oscar
should have
nominated.
won a fucking
He did a good job in that.
supporting actor for that movie. He was
Yeah,
so
he was
fucking
nominated,
good.
but didn't win.
He was nominated, but he should have won. All right, give it up for Falon, man. She told us some shit.
Yeah, information.
That's literal. Fuck this Batman nonsense. That's useful information. Like
Insider
fucking,
trade.
who knew that there are tests?
Yeah.
Thank you, Falon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We're gonna swap you out with JC
Bye, guys.
because he's gonna now ask us the
Bye.
cues. We went online on Twitter and we went on Instagram and we gave you a hashtag. Riddle me this, fat man, and told you to ask us questions. Now we're gonna do some questions, man. JC has picked a bunch, I'm sure, while we've been yammering and he has been moving cars. He doesn't have a lot to do, as you can see. Nobody's fucking here, so I believe he's got the questions ready, man. You ready for the Q&A portion of the show?
I am ready.
We're giving out prizes too, man.
We have cars.
Yeah, if you were here, you'd walk with a fucking car. Never mind these 40X screenings, folks. We were giving away legit fucking prizes, but oh well.
C'est la vie.
Maybe next time. All right, hit us with a question, JC.
How many do you want to do?
You took your mask off? You took your mask off camera? You Batman fuck.
How many do we want to do?
Let's go 10.
Okay.
Random.
We've got at JR was here on Twitter.
Okay.
Asks, as a writer,
What? At JR?
At JR was here.
Oh, I was going to say,
Like,
how the fuck? This guy got JR? He must have been like one of the first tweeters ever.
I think he's a, Dynasty fan,
Yeah, J.R. Ewing.
right?
Oh.
Who
Maybe.
killed J.R.? Dallas.
He asks, as a writer, what are your favorite traits of Jean-Luc Picard?
I'm gonna let him handle that one. Go.
Favorite traits of Jean-Luc Picard.
You know what? I'm gonna give this to him solo. I'm gonna clear the set. Give him a fucking single over there.
What?
I'm gonna go fix
But
my
I can't
hat.
even move over. There's no space. My favorite traits of Jean-Luc Picard. I think Jean-Luc Picard, when he is at his best, is very much like Steve Rogers, in that Jean-Luc Picard believes. He believes in the best in everybody around him. He believes in the capacity for everybody to be excellent around him. He believes in Starfleet in the same way that Steve Rogers believes in America. And I think that he lives by a code and will never stray from that code. So basically, yes, Jean-Luc Picard is the Captain America of the Star Trek universe, and I do love him so.
Next question. What do we got? That was such a great answer. Mark won a pair of
I got gloves?
rubber gloves. It's a little late because you've been touching everything, but put them on. Put them on.
Well,
Made
at least
everybody in the chat very happy about that.
Look, before you put them on, I saw some of that pump shit. Where is that? That hand cleanser.
It's
yeah.
Red's got it.
Look at this. Thank
All
you.
right,
This is
oil
the
up
new.
these
This is
hands.
the new porn right here. This is the fucking money shot we all
Watch
want.
me put some fucking juice on my hands
Yeah.
and squeeze it into a
You
glove.
kill them germs, buddy.
Gabriel P. from the YouTube chat was wanted to know, would you be interested in working on the Ninja Turtles franchise? And they think you guys would be a perfect fit for it.
Having worked now on the Masters of the Universe franchise, yeah, I think I would have a good time playing with the Turtles. Years ago, I don't think I could have said that, but now I'm like, oh, I think I know how to play with other people's toys in a way where I can satisfy that audience and myself as a storyteller. And more importantly, my bosses, the people that hire me to do this stuff. So I could see getting my head around that. What about you? Yeah, look at that. Yeah, don't use that free hand. Use that gloved hand.
Okay.
Didn't it feel great? Like, I can't wait to drive.
You're like Ryan Gosling in that movie called Drive.
Yes, bitch, you're right. That's what I'll feel like tonight when I'm going home. I'll just be like brooding and shit. What is the, could you do a Turtles?
Could I do a Turtles?
Could you in a box? Could you with a fox?
I think I could, and I think I would. But I think that, you know, my Turtles were the Turtles from the original comic book. Like, the original comic book was...
Eastman and Laird black and white books?
Yeah. I mean, it was... And I didn't know when I was a kid that it was just a play on Daredevil. I thought it was just the serious, darkest fucking grimjack bullshit I've ever seen. And
They were
loved it.
fans. They wrote fucking fan fiction.
Yeah.
And built an empire.
Yeah, because it's the foot instead of the hand. And I was like,
Empire. There are more fucking turtle stories in the world than there are stories about Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. Fucking the Turtles Bible's thick as a dick.
And the Bible is
Well, you know,
King
it's
James
got
has-
girth. But they, you know, fucking, it's unfortunately, Jesus dies early on, right? He makes it to like 33.
he does.
Those turtles, they've been around for about as long.
Jesus is the Ned Stark of the Bible.
Don't piss everybody off.
I'm going straight to
No, I mean, don't piss off the Game of Thrones fan. All right, that was good. What else we got? That's 2 questions.
That's 2 down.
2. Here comes the third.
We
ladies
have
and gentlemen.
at JM Bolton asked, do you think the post-corona film industry will open up opportunities for smaller budget and smaller crude productions?
One more time, slowly. Not the first part. Do I think the?
Will it open up opportunities for smaller budget and smaller productions with smaller crews?
I work in this business. You would imagine I have a thought about that. I don't know. I don't know if why would it make it easier or open it up more.
I think they just it showed that people can work from home, that you
True.
can do things on a shoestring that, you know, before.
We
you-
always knew that. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you could be making stuff even, but he's talking about the film industry.
The
itself.
film industry.
I don't honestly don't know that it's going to have that kind of effect. I mean, the first effect you can kind of see is the studios would give a token like, "Hey, let's make a smart movie," or "Let's make this movie." If they come back, it ain't gonna be none of that. It's gonna be like, we got to make we got to pay the rent, so we're gonna nothing but blockbusters. So you know, the mid-range budget movie had kind of died off and disappeared and stuff. Is mostly moves to Netflix and streamers right now. I think it's going to be even more extreme. You know, look, indie film will never go away as long as everybody has a dream about, I want to make a movie and stuff. And so you can do it. So I don't think it's going to change the opportunities that indie filmmakers will have. But I do think the business, the studios, once they turn the lights back on, are going to be like, we want only sure things. Now, to be fair, that's all they ever want. But there's been a kind of like, well, you know, we can make this. This could be an Oscar movie, and this, and I don't think they're gonna think about that at all. I think they're gonna be like sequels, remakes, and reboots. The sure thing that we can count on, money, fucking cash in hand, so we can rebuild this crumbling business if we're out of it for quite some time. But I don't know that necessarily makes it easier or better for indie filmmakers. You?
Yeah, I similarly agree that I don't think it changes the way movies are made and who gets to make movies. I think that's
Right.
always going to be, you know, its own weird paradigm of, yes, the same 30 people who get to make giant blockbusters, and then everybody else is going to be making small personal movies, and I think those will still be made. And I think that, you know, all the blockbusters that got pushed out of this year is going to be what we see coming up next anyway, even if it starts in August with Wonder Woman, and then Black Widow, and then Fast and the Furious 9, and then all these things that got kind of scaled down the pike are going to be coming Fast and Furious. But I think we're going to see a wave of small, independent, low-budget quarantine movies. Because I think that it will be the thing that's on people's minds.
And the shared experience.
Right.
Where
like,
people could be like, oh my God, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We did the same thing
You know,
when we were quarantined.
You're going to see like your quarantine romances, and you like quarantine serial killer movies, and like your quarantine comedies.
And you want, and honestly, there you go. He may be onto something. That's a cheap fucking movie. Because literally the whole movie's about stay the fuck inside.
Yeah.
And the villain, the monster, you can't even see. It's fucking tiny.
Yeah. I remember
Tiny.
there was a movie, I can't remember
That's
the
the
fucking
next
name of it.
Invisible Man. The fucking, the quarantine series of quarantine movies that Mark feels we're going to be drowning in next year. And he's probably not wrong. Like, it is a very inexpensive story to tell. You're
Yeah.
stuck in 4 walls and shit. It's like doing black box theater. I know what I'm going to start writing.
There was a movie that came out. It was a Sundance movie. I can't remember the fucking name of it, but it was about these 2 people in a house, and there was like some kind of viral outbreak. I want to say it was L.A. And it was just about, it was in the house, and there was like plastic on, how fast can you put the plastic on the windows? How quickly can you seal off your air conditioning? Like, what happens if, your wife or the person you're now quarantined with is not who you thought they were?
Right.
Maybe they had some other job out in the world that was maybe part of this. And like, it was It was a big fucking suspense pot boiler. I remember it being pretty good, but I can't remember the fucking name of it for the life of me. So sorry I even brought it up. But that feeling of...
Someone online tell us what Mark forgot.
Tell us
Be
what that
his
is.
pensive.
Yes, totally. And I didn't even smoke anything. But yeah, I think there's always that reaction to the national mood. Where, to your point, there's going to be lots of movies about the Great Blue Yonder and about, like, gathering in places. There's going to be a lot of, like, New Year's Eve movies and wedding movies and party movies. And, like, look, remember when we could all be in a place together and do a thing? There are going to be movies about that. Yeah, I think community is going to be the thing that movies will, or at least a decent chunk of the sort of swirl around movies is going to be, how do we make people feel good about the thing they were missing for that time, which was being with loved ones and being in open spaces and, like, traveling and going on fucking vacation and, like, hitting a theme park. Like, I'd be surprised if there's not a wave of, like, Disney Plus movies about kids working in theme parks again. Yes!
Right at your door is the
Fuck
name of
yes,
the movie.
Andrew.
Andrew pulled it up. Well done, Andrew.
Right at your
your door. All right, next question. Question number 4.
Okay, we have. Let's go with Tiger Tie.
Hey, Tiger.
He said he wanted Shri. Germans say Shri.
How do you think they're going to introduce Blade in the MCU?
How will they introduce Blade in the MCU? Well, he's in the MCU, or is he belong to Marvel, or is he part of the Spider-Man universe?
It's a Marvel.
They
Straight up
could,
Feige.
if they wanted to, slip him into Morbius, or introduce him by way of Morbius. If Morbius, Jared Leto's picture, establishes him, and then they stick him in the next Spider-Man movie, maybe that's where you have your first taste of Blade. I mean, maybe because this Spider-Man 3 feels like, and it's not like it sounds like, but it feels like it could be a packed movie. Feels like there's going to be a bunch of villains going after him. Could be a Sinister Six affair. So maybe they don't want to fucking be like, and also here's Backdoor Blade, which sounds way fucking more erotic than I meant it. But the idea of, like, this is the first time, I bet you they'll want to first time him in their own motion picture. So if you're not using Morbius,
Can I make a suggestion?
yeah, fuck yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, a writer.
It is entirely possible. You heard it here first, a thing I'm making up. There could very well be a multiverse of madness that has vampires in it.
That's true. This multiverse of madness could let a lot of things in, like mutants.
I mean, because Doctor Strange is our vector into the occult and magic anyway, and whether vampirism in this version of the Marvel Universe is a science-based thing or an actual supernatural magic thing, technically Doctor Strange can also give you both, because he's a doctor who has worked in science and also knows a bit about the supernatural. And, like,
So then is Blade from another dimension or from ours?
it could very well be from another parallel Earth.
How would you feel about that if he wasn't from our Earth but a parallel Earth? I
think-
know we got bigger things to worry about with the coronavirus, but how would you feel if he was from
I would
an
feel pretty
alternate-
good about it.
Really?
I mean,
I want him to be from our Earth, man.
but if you do the Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they all become one, then
I don't want them to do that.
all right. Well,
I mean, I wouldn't be against if they did it and stuff, but I want to be, number one, his origin, it begins in birth, right? Fucking
his mother,
his mom gets bit by a vampire when she's carrying him.
Right.
So it can't be like, if he would have to be from another dimension then. Otherwise, they got to go back in time and be like, no, vampire. I guess they can do whatever they fucking want.
Right.
Kevin Feige's a genius. He'll figure this shit out.
Yeah. I mean, although
You're asking the wrong Kevin. The right Mark, but the wrong Kevin.
it would feel weird though if suddenly you're like, hey, Avengers, you know all that shit you've been worrying about? By the way, also vampires. And, like, we didn't know there were vampires? Shouldn't we have known there were vampires?
Yeah.
So a multiverse lets
And
you
they're
get
like,
out.
vampires aren't an Avengers level world threat, man.
We're doing Thanos level shit, dude.
Ant-Man handle that shit. Get all small, crawl up the butthole like we all wanted him to do in fucking Endgame.
Dude, did you hear that there's a butthole cut of cats? Listen, there's many reasons to talk about cats, and maybe now more than ever is the time to talk about the dumbass things about cats.
Truly. A lot of
But-
money got spent on that movie.
There's why did they put...
Kind of a quasi butthole cut. Apparently, when they did all the effects, the folding of the layer of fake fur they put on gave the impression, as it met in a seam, it gave the impression of like assholes. So it's not like they were like, we're doing a cut that put an asshole on that cat, put an asshole on that cat, put an asshole on that guy. It was just like it happened along the way, and so they were like they would have to erase it, from what I understand. But so it's not truly like the butthole cut where it's like, oh, look at that stinky ass brown and shit. It's just the special effects aren't fucking fully done.
But like the special effects,
It ain't the Snyder cut, let's be honest. Like that's real. The butthole cut is a fantasy.
but I don't imagine special effects are like drawing a loaf of bread closed, right? Where you're like pulling fabric over, like it's CG. Like who's in there doing like fucking CG stretching?
That's how that shit works, man.
And then just twisting it off.
It's a model. In the model, as they build it, it does that. And apparently, as they folded the fur around them, because they all wore those fucking suits and shit, it folded, the seam of the connection folded in such a way that it's like, does that look like a cat's asshole?
This feels like a very elaborate way to explain one pervy animator who was just like, I'm putting fucking buttholes on everything. Who's
like,
gonna know?
I hope nobody fucking finds out.
So shit, they found out. There's a whole cut. I showed all my friends.
All right, so wait, what was how did we get there? Is that 4? We're done with 4?
That was done with 4.
Done
All
with
right,
4.
that Blade was 4.
Blade was 4.
To cat asshole cut of cat.
5.
Question number
Question
5.
5 is from Shetland Sean.
Hey,
Oh, what a cute
Sean.
name. It's alliterative.
If you could take any song and build a movie around its lyrics, which song would it be and what would the plot be?
Oh.
Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, MCR. Such an epic song. I'm building Clerks 3 around that song, so this is actually a great question for me right now.
I know how this
Yeah,
goes.
I'm using that as my model. All right, so that's mine. What's yours?
Blue Oyster Cult, veteran of the Psychic Wars.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say "Don't Fear the Reaper."
No.
What is Veterans of the Psychic Wars? Is it a story song?
Yeah, it's about this like soldier who had been fighting in this kind of like post-apocalyptic war that apparently only took place in the mind. But it was very like fucking like, you see me now, a veteran of 1,000 psychic wars. My energy is spent at last and my armor is destroyed. I ain't much to look at and I'm not too much to see. Wounds are all I'm made of. And then there's more. But it's very sort of crimson and it's like post-apocalyptic D&D is what I think of when I hear that song. It's like
Speaking of that, they had a lot of D&D and Onward.
Yes.
I was going to text Joe Manganiello, be like, have you watched it? But I'm sure he's probably fucking seen it by now. But there were so many D&D
And pissed
references.
off that he couldn't be Chris Pratt. Because, dude, I'm right fucking here.
I live this! All right, so wait, what was that?
That was 5.
was
The
5.
songs we would build movies around.
We did it. Now we're on to 6.
6.
This is from Matthew Cox.
Hello, Cox.
What is your favorite line or recurring joke in a movie? It would be similar to like 37 in a row for you, but not one that you've created.
Not from one of my movies.
Correct.
A runner, if you will. You got one?
I don't have...
When I was a kid, it would have been like, we're on a mission from God, the Blues
Right.
Brothers.
But it's not like... That's a joke. Does that happen like more than once in Blues Brothers?
Oh, yeah.
3 or 4
Elwood
times?
says it at least like between, I remember Jake does, well, me and the Lord, we got an understanding.
Right.
We're on a mission from God.
It's not in a single movie, but I think the we're too old for... I'm too old for this shit.
Well, it's
Lethal
definitely in a
Weapon.
single fucking movie.
But I don't know if they do it more than once in that movie, but I know they do it throughout the series. So I'm getting
Lethal
too old for
Weapon.
this shit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were the first ones to do, they literally coined that phrase. I believe. I don't think anyone in pop culture had ever said, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Until they did in, 2? Lethal Weapon 2?
They did it in the first one too.
First one as well?
Yeah.
We're back in a Lethal Weapon world. We didn't even talk about that. They're making another Lethal Weapon movie. Did you read that?
I did not read that, but that's awesome.
It's crazy. And Dick Donner's directing it. Dick Donner is like 90 years old. The
That's
dickish and
astonishing.
Donnerish he could ever be at age fucking 90. It's gonna. I mean, I know, people have feelings about Mel and stuff like that, but I'm just happy Dick Donner's making a movie with his friends. I'm
Yeah.
sad that, well, not sad, but it's a bummer that one of his friends has.
I mean, it sucks that like that guy's that guy. But
Yeah,
if he wasn't that guy, this would be great.
It really is. But I'm happy for Dick Donner, man. Fucking.
One last try.
Well,
at the
here it
ring.
might be two lads. I read an article where they're like they're going to make two of those back to back.
I mean, if you're going to make two, now's the time to make two.
You ain't kidding. Well, it's probably been shut down for the minute, right? Because of
Yeah.
it's Corona time. All right, what else we got? Did we hit that one?
That was 6.
Did we
That
answer it?
was.
Yeah. I'm
it
too old for this
6?
shit.
Yes.
What was mine?
Yours was I'm on a mission from God.
Yeah, that would have been it when I was a kid. What is it? I'm gonna have to let that stand, man. I mean, I guess like you could go to the Star Wars movies and be like, I got a bad feeling about this.
Or like 1138 kind of spans all sorts of different things. Like that
How he
number
drops
keeps showing up.
THX 1138 in the Luke
Frau Brucha.
and Young Frankenstein. Deep cuts pull, very nice.
Or like Wilhelm Scream could be a fun one.
That runs through a lot of movies, but yeah, all right, that's enough of an answer.
Yeah. Mine isn't. Also, again, it's over a course of movies, less than one movie, but I can do this all day.
Oh, I can do this all day. I know. Such a wonderful movie. All right, so that was 6 or 7?
That was
7.
6.
That was 6.
Here
One
comes
to 7.
question number 7.
This is from CPOth92.
CPOF 92.
If you could pick a DC movie for Jon Favreau to direct, what character would you choose, and who would Favreau play?
Superman, hands down. Put a character that wonderful in the hands of a storyteller that wonderful. Everyone's always like, it's tough to crack the Superman code. He's too powerful. Jon Favreau can make a brilliant Superman movie. Who would Favs play in that movie? Perry White, easily.
DC movie directed by Johnny Favs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Blue Beetle.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with Blue Beetle. And I think that
I could see it with the Iron Man of it all. Ted
Yeah.
Kord, millionaire, making
you know, and
shit.
he's fucking young, and he's a teenager, and you can have all that kind of teen fun.
Oh, you're doing the Jamie one?
I'm doing the Jaime Reyes
The
one.
Jaime Reyes one?
Yeah, I think that. I don't.
Smart.
Yeah, I don't know the book well enough to know who he would play, but I'm sure there's a principal who gives Jaime Reyes some shit for being a superhero that watching Johnny Favs.
No, man, you let him be fucking rundown Booster Gold. We always get like presented the god like Booster Gold. Just let it be Favs, man. where
That's
he's
great.
like that, because that's the guy who would use the fucking time to get back, and I think that could work.
That's awesome.
All right, where are we going next? That was number 7. We're on 8.
The Elite Eight.
This is from the chat. Matthew Hutchison
Hey, Matt.
wants to
What's
know,
up, Matt?
is there a movie that
Matt.
Mark loves that Kevin doesn't like?
Oh,
Is there
shit.
a movie that I love that you don't?
That's a good question, because it definitely, like the other way, it'd probably be easier to do, because Mark hates everything.
I do, apparently.
What do you like that I haven't liked?
I don't know. Because the thing is, our tastes are relatively well aligned.
Yeah, very much so.
We're about the same age. We come from about the same place. We
Yeah.
like the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Venn diagram really lays right on top of
Yeah.
one another.
I mean, I'm sure finding a movie that you love that I don't is easier. It just has to be about hockey. I've never seen Slapshot.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't see Frozen, so there we are. We're even.
There and scene. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because then we just have to start like going down the list of like,
And
I
then
like
be like,
this.
no, I like that.
Hey, do
No,
you
I like
this?
that.
Yeah, do you
No,
like
I like
this?
that.
Yeah.
Was there anything on your top 10 list from last year that I was like, what? No, never.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff you hadn't seen. Like, I don't think you'd seen Fast Color yet.
I know I still haven't. But nothing that I was like, you're out of your mind. That movie was terrible.
Yeah. I got some flack for Hustlers.
From me?
No, from our other special guest,
Who? Who was it?
Red.
You gave Mark crap about Hustlers? You like?
Oh, Klaus, thanks for calling me out. I was surprised. Let's just say I was surprised.
That Mark liked Hustlers?
Yes, that was
Enough to put on my top 10. She was like, really? And I said, yeah, you didn't like it? Like, not that much.
I
whether or not it was because of J-Lo or if he actually liked the
you actually like the story.
I actually like the story quite a bit. The J-Lo of it all doesn't hurt.
I've still not seen
have
it.
a great big ass?
Is that your Pacino?
That's my Pacino.
All right, I don't know if we can answer that. It would
I don't
take
think
like
so
a few
either.
days.
Yeah, that's a whole separate podcast.
Yeah, to figure out fucking shit Mark likes that I don't. All right, next question. Wow, you stumped us, panel.
Well done.
This is from
This is question number 9.
question 9 from Kevin Walskog.
A fellow Kevin.
Hello, Kevin.
Who should Keanu play in a Marvel movie because you know it's going to happen?
What a great question. Who should Keanu play in a Marvel? Submariner. Namor. Hands down. Hands down he should fucking play Namor. In a world where Aquaman is played by Jason Momoa and you're going to do your own underwater hero and shit, you got to set him apart. Keanu as Namor. In a John Wick-like performance, because Namor is just a fucking killer badass.
He's a badass.
That's my pick.
He probably
You?
wears more clothes than Namor usually does.
True.
Because, Keanu's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
But he's also not a spring chicken.
No, Namor is always like in a onesie.
Yeah.
A little bikini bottom.
He's-
Banana boat.
He's a bit like Sting in Dune.
Yes, yes. I will kill him!
My beautiful fade.
All I see is the Atreides I want to kill. All right, fucking...
All right, so who should Keanu play? I would have said, fucking Reed Richards.
But I thought we
but
all
I'm-
wanted John Krasinski to do that.
But I want fucking Taika to do it.
Taika to play the part. I've seen that online. They put a picture of him with the...
They were like,
I would back that play.
The tweet was something like, if Reed Richards is supposed to be a guy who skips dinner because he went 50 million science experiments, here's that guy.
I agree. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's a great choice. I hope I wonder if they're thinking about that at all. Because he was a great IG-11.
Oh yeah, no,
Like,
he's,
fuck.
He's great Korg.
Yeah. Yes.
He's already in the MCU.
He goes,
So
Nude
should
Master
fucking
called me a dick. Nude Master, yes, Thor.
I don't. He doesn't have a big enough role, but I think that Keanu could also be an awesome watcher.
Uatu?
Uatu.
Keanu as a Uatu?
So many vowels. So many vowels.
It rhymes.
But just that.
Fuck, I was just going to say that, man. What about Ghost Rider?
Wow,
Like, if they were like, we're going to do that shit again.
that would be super cool.
Wow, Ghost Rider would have been played by both Nick Cage and Keanu. That makes that part like fucking Batman at that point.
And Gabriel Luna, who also played him.
And Gabriel Luna is right. Fucking on TV. All right. Uatu's your answer?
Uatu's my answer.
I like my answer more.
It's better.
Last question. 10 of 10.
10 of 10.
All right, this is from William Curtis, kind of a silly one.
All
If
right,
you
Billy.
were in The Masked Singer, what would your costume be?
Do you get to pick your costume?
He's asking, what would you like?
Silent Bob. Like a big furry Silent Bob character, mascot like. So when I took the head off, they're like, you're fucking kidding. I was like, yeah, you couldn't figure it out? Silent Bob. And the idea of a big Silent Bob singing is kind of funny in and of itself, I think, even though your mouth's not moving. Silent Bob. Plus, I'm always trying to push the brand. So
Good.
a lot of people watch that show. Silent Bob.
Get him out there.
Yeah.
The Kool-Aid Man.
Oh! What a great fucking call, man. Oh, my God. You got your entrance down.
Done. Hey!
Oh, yeah. Like,
Oh,
you fucking
yeah.
smashed through the wall. Oh, that fucking wins. That wins the fucking internet. Excellent fucking choice. If they don't do a Kool-Aid Man on that show, they're fucking leaving the low-hanging fruit just laying.
They got no business making a show.
You got any other questions you like that are fucking wonderful, but no?
No.
I love JC's honesty. Fuck no.
No, you all
Of
failed.
all the questions, those were the 10. Well, there it is. We did a show for you, folks. Let's see. 9:45. We started at like 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30, 7:40. 2 hours.
2 hours. 2-hour show with nobody here. You know what we learned today? Fuck an audience. We love an audience, and we wish everyone was here. So much more fun when people are laughing with or at us. Doesn't really
Yes.
matter. And hopefully we'll get back to those fucking heady days, folks, when we can all stand much closer to each other than me and Mark are right now. But until then, what can we do? Where can we send them? Someone asked me on my phone where I'm wearing the shirt, like it says, I assure you we're open from Clerks. The Chivery, that's where they're selling a bunch of Kevin Smith, Jay, and Silent Bob shirts.
Nice.
I don't have anything to sell because
Can't sell very much.
we're not fucking on tour or anything like that.
You could, if you go to the Scum and Villainy Facebook page,
Yes.
we are selling gift cards,
Ooh.
which we get the money from now,
Yes.
which helps us. You can use it here later, and we're giving 10% off. So if you buy a $100 gift card, you buy a $100 gift card, we charge you $90.
Here's a question. I saw somebody, like I think it was a Jimmy Fallon video where it said, like fundraiser or something on it on streaming, because we streamed on YouTube tonight. Is there like a tip jar or a fucking thing? Because maybe we can make it that, like, if you're watching the show, throw a few bucks in for Scum and Villainy.
Yeah,
next
we
time.
could probably. I'll have to look it
Yeah,
up.
maybe for the
Maybe
next
next
one.
time.
Tip jar like the cam girls and the cam boys do. Just have to work it, man. Yeah, take one out. We don't take them both out. We just each take one out.
Just do one out. Look.
Yes. And then we watch the tip jar go like ding, 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 ding.
Are there negative tips? What? How do they take money out of an empty tip jar?
JC becomes like our pimp and stuff. He's
Yeah.
like, work it harder.
Come on,
Show both.
Grease them down.
The tips are low. Take them both out. We're like Coco and Flash. and not Flash.
Fame.
Flash. That was the best episode of Flash, man.
It's like, holy shit, Grant Gustin got naked in Flash.
Things got dark. There it is, folks. Yes, the next time we do this, maybe we'll put it up a donation jar so it could go here to the good folks at the Scum and Villainy. If you like the show. Ooh, we can finally do that thing I've always wanted to do since I was a kid and watch the Little Rascals every day. Remember they put on a show and one time they were like, pay as you exit. Like they didn't charge anybody until the show was over.
Nice.
And the show was a fucking disaster, Mark. It was terrible. But everybody, they packed the barn and shit. All the little white kids. And then, because back then,
So many poor white
they had
kids.
a lot of white kids, Mark. They packed the fucking barn, and then the kids, the Little Rascals, put on a terrible show. And as they left, you know, they were all like, well, we shouldn't have fucking let them pay as they exit. We should have got their money up front. And they're like, I don't know about that, Spanky. And they got all the fucking money because the kids were like, that show was so fucking bad. It was worth the price of admission, and they fucking paid up. So maybe that's what we'll do, a Little Rascals pay as you exit kind of
Oh,
thing.
that's nice.
If the show was good enough, and then the proceeds will go right here to the bar. If you like the Scum and Villainy Cantina, you want to see it keep going and stuff, this is a way you can help. A lot of folks being hit hard, of course, by the coronavirus and stuff. Some of my favorite today was what was it called? Eat Out Day or some such
Yeah,
shit?
National Takeout Day. Or
Yeah, the
something.
Great National Takeout Day.
I mean,
and
Eat
stuff.
Out Day is every day if you're doing it right.
Heavens, yes, man. But yes, it's been it's a tough time to ask anybody to do anything for anybody else because everybody got to do stuff for themselves and stuff like that. But you know, like I eat in New York at PS Kitchen all the time and stuff, and I got an email from them about how like their staff is just like laid off and stuff. JC mentioned before the staff here laid off. What do they do? What is it? Unemployment? What are you doing for all this
Yeah,
stuff?
everybody works here hourly. But I mean, I'm not making any money either. Like
Yeah,
I cut my
JC also
salary.
fucking-
Everybody cut everything just so we can.
Is like
keep
we've
going.
always loved this place and fucking like what a great fucking idea and stuff like that. But now is the time like where it's gonna get tough. It's tough to run a business if fucking you can't run a business and stuff. But again, when nobody complaining, nobody's like reopen the fucking world. We understand why it's closed and stuff. But you know, I certainly am not gonna let this place go because fuck, this is the only place where we can do the show. So yeah, next time we do this, we'll put up a fucking tip jar and shit like that.
Yeah.
You can tell us what to do for money,
Whoo.
right?
You gonna go back to the Blue Man Group after this?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Every time I look over, it's like, are you like half Dr. Manhattan?
I know, you're all in the fucking, you just won't take that mask off.
No.
You look like Pirate
I'm talking
Jenny
about
from
you.
Watchmen, from the Watchmen show.
I'm talking about you. You're Dr. Manhattan. You got your blue fucking hands and
Oh, I thought you were her. I do have Dr. Manhattan hands, don't I? If only I could blue the face up. I just rewatched the final 2 episodes of that the other day. I mean, like quarantine time means like a melee. I do a mixtape of movies where I'm like, I'm just gonna watch my 2 favorite scenes from this one, and then jump over to this one and stuff. So I rewatched the whole last 2 episodes, That show is such a beautiful gift. It's so fucking fantastic. So fucking well done. Oh.
And it's like, and I'm not mad at it for just calling it quits.
No,
Like,
I'm
you know
not
what?
mad at all. I'm
You
like, are you
made-
kidding me? More shit should be like that.
You
Like,
made a beautiful thing.
we made it, and it was amazing. We're never going to beat it. Goodbye. And out they fucking go.
Just walk away.
Yeah,
There's
fuck.
been too much violence.
I always thought that's how Twin Peaks should have ended when Laura Palmer's murder was solved, and that was that. But they kept going and stuff. So there it is, man. Fucking, we'll be back next week, hopefully, and doing this as a benefit for the Scum and Villainy Cantina. And for the benefit of ourselves, because we love talking about this shit. Can't do the show without my man standing all the way over there. Give it up for Mr. Mark Bernardin.
Oh, thank you, Kevin Smith.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Fatman Beyond for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Mark Bernard.
Tune in next week, same fat time, same fat channel, smodcast.com, or
YouTube.com/Kevin Smith.
for the good of all Cree. Good night, everybody.